Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo Saturday edition. I'm your host and keeper of the Hairy Channel, and with me tonight are Minions Serenity Star 13.
Hello.
SkepTock.
Hello, everybody.
DrFunctional.
Bite my shiny daffodil ass.
And Sora Luna.
Hello. Don't bite me, please.
Yeah, no bite.
No bite.
Harry's already poking the beast, and the show hasn't even started yet.
That's right. Yeah, that's me, just the enforcer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I run such a tight ship here. Yeah, about 15 seconds before the intro video ends, I tell everybody to just shut up, because we got a good head of steam going before the show, and the conversation just sort of went up till the last possible minute. We actually started by talking about what we weren't going to talk about. And that itself started a conversation. I know it's very meta. I can't keep track. Hi, Functional.
Why?
Anything you'd like to share with the class before we start?
Well, I told you before the show, and just anybody else in chat. I see a couple people who were here last night. Sanguine and I managed to make a Friday show, and we had an almost 3-hour talk about like the modern mythos, heroes, stories, movies. And then the show ended. I was so tired, and then we ended up talking for like another hour about this stuff. So I am all talked out on the entertainment front. I want some red meat. I want blood. I want violence. I want crime. Not to exist. I just want to talk about that.
You want to talk about anything except like movies and video games?
Anything but the hero's journey. I mean, even before that, like I've been having discussions all week with various people because I want to start a new, I wouldn't call it a show, but a new infrequent, semi-regular discussion on arts and entertainment, and not to be those grievance grifters that, they're just getting so tired and they're popping up everywhere, but like to talk about the stories that make us as a species, that have existed since we learned how to speak to each other, and how they shaped the modern mythos, and talk about stuff that we love, stuff that's good, stuff that's not for the sake of positivity, but just for the sake of, what, people are probably thirsting for a good movie, a good book series, whatever, some entertainment, some actual art in their lives. And we're constantly being force-fed this by the algorithms, like, oh, hate this, Star Wars sucks, X-Men sucks, this book series sucks, this adaptation of that sucks. Like, I'm just,
Yeah, well, we talked about entertainment last week and got the stream suspended temporarily and then got copy struck.
And for a very different reason than we originally thought, too.
Yeah, it wasn't the stuff from Bullet that got us in trouble. After the fact, like, I don't know, about 12-something hours later, Disney decided it didn't like us showing any part of the trailer to their new stupid properties. And we were so far within fair use, I don't even know what the issue was, because I went back and looked at what was there, but it's like I just trimmed that out of the show.
Other
and it's
people's videos, other channels' videos, when they were dissecting and talking about, they did a lot more than we did. Like, they played a lot more and repeated some of those scenes again and again, and it was like,
whatever.
It's a little weird. Whatever.
Not a good use of our time thinking about it or talking about it. Disney, you're just a bunch of assholes, and I don't care. Well, because actually, I thought we weren't even being particularly negative about it. I mean, on balance, you were being negative about it. I was being sort of in the middle, and then there were two people saying they actually kind of liked it. So I think it was a pretty fair discussion about the Disney. But anyway, moving on. Forget about Disney. Hi, Sora.
Hello.
You doing okay?
Oh. Can't complain.
Well, you said that there was interesting weather where you were, but you didn't get to experience any of it because it all just avoided you because it knew that you wanted to see it, so it just all went around you. Yeah, I was...
Same city, we had, apparently there was a thunderstorm,
Mhm.
but it never made it all the way to me. So, Fuck you, I guess.
Yeah, well, we've been getting all, all kinds of thunderstorms today, and it's been super fun. I was getting in the car to drive home, and I set up the navigation because if there's a road closed or something, I want to know about it. And the navigation said, oh, no, you want to take this completely different, stupid route. And I'm like, no, I want to go this way. And then it says, are you sure there's 5 weather-related events on that road? I go, yes. Because I actually wanted to see if anything interesting happened. So I got lightning, hail, wind, the whole deal. And because everybody else was scared to be on the road, I really didn't have a lot of competition. So it was pretty great. Pretty darn great. But I've always been kind of a weather enthusiast. You know, like some people are train enthusiasts. I'm a weather enthusiast. I still desperately want to see a funnel cloud or a tornado or something. Did I tell you I was in a tornado one time, but I didn't see it? I can't remember if I've ever told you that story.
No, you were in it, but you didn't see it?
Okay. I was in a tornado, but I didn't know that at the time. So I just happened to be sick this one day, so I didn't go into work. And everybody at work saw the tornado. But I was at home, and I was afraid that my car was going to get damaged because of hail, because there were thunderstorms going over. So I put my car in the underground parking. But I also knew the underground parking tended to flood during thunderstorms. So I was in the garage watching my car, trying to decide where the best place to be was. As this was happening, about 150 yards away, an F2 tornado went by. It's a thing that happens once in every 50 years. I was literally like right by a tornado, which I desperately wanted to see, but I didn't get to see it because I was in the garage unaware of what was going on. In hindsight, the fact that the wind was so loud that I couldn't talk to the person standing next to me might have been a clue. I completely screwed it up.
Maybe not.
No, I completely screwed it up. There was this tornado, and it hit Sunnyvale back in the 90s, and I was like right by it. You know, it cut this nice big swath through Sunnyvale, but I didn't get to see it. And this pisses me off. I'm much saltier about this particular thing than I am about 6th grade camp, but I have no one to blame but myself. So it's
1998.
Yeah, that was frustrating. It was very, very frustrating. It's a once in a 50-year thing, and the fact that it was pretty much on my doorstep and I didn't get to see it. Anyway, this show isn't about me. What are we doing up here? So you didn't get to see anything. I was kind of hoping for something interesting to happen, but thunder, lightning, it's all good. I like extreme weather. I'm just stupid that way. Hi, SkepTock.
How you doing, Harry?
I'm doing okay. Tomato seedlings are coming along nicely.
Yes, yours are.
Yep.
Mine are too.
Yep.
And we have a variety of cherry tomatoes, and then one boring big tomato that I can't remember the type, but it's one of the majors. It's a better boy fork. But we've got all kinds of interesting cherries in the ground. Our blackberries are they're amazing. They're really coming out. So are potatoes. I think we may have finally figured out how to grow potatoes in Texas. It just takes epic amounts of quality dirt and a whole lot of fertilizer and work. But this year we'll get a 55-gallon drum of potatoes.
Oh.
Just from our garden.
That's good.
I mean, yeah, and we'll probably get 3 or 4 bushels of beans and snow peas, or at least 2 bushels. I would say a bushel each of snow peas and beans, maybe more of snow peas. So yeah, we are back in we couldn't stop ourselves. We planted too much again this year. So
As one does. I'm trying to remember, was it you that, I can't remember which of my friends did this, but was it you that bought the freeze drying system for home?
Yes, that's me. Yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, none of it's going to go to waste.
No, exactly. And we freeze dry a lot of that stuff. Brenda's the big freeze dryer. I mean, left to my own, I probably wouldn't have bought the thing. I mean, taking a bunch of energy to make big food into little food, dry food. Okay. There's other ways to put up food and other ways to, secure it. I'm going to tend to dry and jerk and smoke beef and, put vegetables and fruits up, in jars and cans and like. But I had never thought about freeze drying. But we spend a lot of time and effort doing freeze drying, but very interesting results. That stuff will last for a really long time. Freeze dried banana chips, they're amazingly nutritious, and they'll be nice to have after the apocalypse when there's no more power.
Well, when after the eclipse destroys civilization in your area,
that's a great point.
You're gonna need something to eat, and those banana chips, you're gonna be able to sell those for gold. All that worthless, filthy lucre that people carry around. It's like,
exactly.
Can I give you a Morgan dollar for a freeze dried banana? Okay.
Yeah, it's five Morgans.
5 Morgans.
5 Morgans for the banana.
Yeah. Good times.
If you get more hungry. Yeah, that'll be great. Really appreciate our governments for pushing us to the brink of civilization. We had a very nice little civilization going there for a little while.
Be a shame if something happened to it.
Yeah.
Hi, Serenity. Oh, did she step away?
No, I was messing around with stuff. Hola.
Hola. Anything new and exciting? You have to Annie Oakley any more stuff?
Not yet.
Yeah.
The dog's having a panic attack because we're having thunder and lightning. It's very, very frightening. Indeed.
Oh.
But we're not getting any rain because it's the isolated thunderstorms and they're just buzzing us. So he's panicked in a bathroom right now.
Oh.
The youngest one is, and the oldest one, who's a schnauzer mixed with something else, she's just dead asleep to the world. She does not give two flying Fs.
Yeah. Have you noticed, well, maybe on YouTube, there's all these channels devoted to things to listen to help you sleep. And so there's the water noises, and then there's the surf noises, and then the rainstorm, sometimes with gentle rolling thunder. So I guess for some people, the thunder and the lightning is just like, it's just a gentle rolling thunder off in the distance. And that's nice.
That's how you can tell no one grew up in the Appalachians where
exactly
storms can get stuck. If a storm gets stuck, it will turn into a tornado, or it will turn into a really bad thunderstorm. If it gets stuck in the valleys, or if it goes up the New River Gorge and builds up speed and strength and then goes full just hell to the world.
Yeah, that's
because the thing, because I'm bracketed on one side by the New River Gorge, I'm bracketed on the other side by the Ohio River Valley. So it's this whole thing of like, I'm not in the dead center of the state, but I'm pretty close, and it's just that whole thing of like, if one comes from one direction, New River Gorge either stops the storm. The amount of hurricanes that have been stopped by the New River Gorge is amazing. But at the same time, it's like if it's too warm, it builds up speed there and then just hits the rest of us. Or it hits one side and just kind of dissipates because it hits the heat bloom. So it's a whole, like, West Virginia's too up in the air about storms and stuff like that. So you just have to go, well, we're going to hope to God Weather Channel got your crap right and didn't mess up and get us all killed. Here we go.
Chat's being pretty funny.
Chat. Well, Assassin's in there. Oh, hello, Michael Hatfield and Cashel.
Yeah.
And Chaos and Raymond. But, yeah, no, that's about it. We're not planting yet because we're still getting almost to freezing at night. We do have a couple berry plants just because they're easier for me to throw a bag over if it gets too cold at night. So we have a blueberry and raspberry bush going. We have a strawberry bush that's going from last year, which was growing in the middle of the winter, which was weird. But
that is weird.
But it was, we have a brick house, so I think and I put it near the house to make sure that the bulb didn't entirely freeze during the winter. So I think the brick from the house kept it mostly warm. But yeah, we haven't planted anything yet. I'm just biding my time, waiting for for it to happen, because we buy from a very, very tiny, not nursery, but tiny little like farmer's market of plants that have already started, because it's cheaper, because it's like $2.99 for a tray of 4 around here for like tomatoes and tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers. So that's what we wait for.
So $2.99 for 4 seedlings.
Yeah, usually
That's
pretty
not.
far along.
That's
too.
nothing.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's kind of like, I know eggs have gone back down, but around here there's so many independent homesteading backwater people who have their own eggs and sell their excess to the smaller markets that eggs went up by 10 cents and then went right back down. So that was another thing that happened around here too. Like there's too many preppers / homesteaders around here.
Yeah. What you're seeing is a thing called cross price elasticity. People sell the commercial eggs, but there's a substitute that you can just go, I'll just buy this instead, which tends to keep the price down.
Yep. Or usually there's a neighbor somewhere you can go, hey, can I buy some eggs off of you for like, buy like 6 of them for like for less than $1, and they'll be like, yeah, sure, take them.
Yeah, I wonder if Tinder and all the other hookup things have cut into the prostitution business.
Oh, absolutely. Grindr did that years ago. I remember there being reports about it in the news about how certain people were using certain things to do certain things they shouldn't.
Yeah, you're a little quiet, Serenity.
Yeah, my mic's being.
I've got you
bitchy.
cranked. I cranked your audio up to almost 200%, and
Chat, can you hear me?
so just
I
don't
can
wander
hear
too
you.
far from your microphone.
I don't think so, but
So are you
who
ready
knows?
for Easter?
We have the ham, and that's basically the extent of what we're doing.
I keep saving these pictures, and then I never
about 'em?
remember to show them. How about this one? Do you like that one?
I like that one. I like the the creep, the old, not even that old school Easter Bunny. Like Easter Bunny from the 1950s were terrifying.
I am that terrified child. That would be me.
Harry, you look really scared in that picture.
How about this one?
Oh, that's a very concerned baby.
The baby's like, it's behind me, isn't it?
How about this one? This one must have been taken in the camps
Get
or
me outta
something.
here. Oh no! Oh no! No,
It's like,
no, no!
It's like, Mummy, we're going to die, aren't we? It's like, you're fine, sweetheart. But Mummy.
Go with
That one, the kid's
Go with
okay,
that,
but the
Mr.
rabbit is like, what the hell? Rabbit.
That's like the teddy bears like Teddy Ruxpin and them, that if you brush their hair the wrong way, it would make them look like they were scowling, and if you brushed it the other way, they looked happy.
But why
Oh,
would you
yeah,
make
yeah,
this
yeah,
one
yeah.
look so evil?
It's just the hair being brushed the wrong way. That's what it is.
I don't know.
Yes,
This one.
That one's a little too realistic looking. That's
what
the
what
reason
is
why
it?
that
It
one's
looks like a giant pedophilic rabbit or something.
I don't
It
know.
looks like a hare. It looks like someone modeled it after like a March hare. Like,
I don't know. I don't know.
like someone took taxidermy way too
No,
literal.
that's unpleasant.
And no one Google anybody in a bunny suit, because you will run right into the furry community. It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. Maybe that's their thing. But
There's
Yeah.
a lot of furries out there.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
And it's be afraid. It's society's history.
yeah, well, speaking of which, small follow-up. Sam Bankman-Fried has been sentenced to 25 years in jail.
oh no.
I'm sure with good
Yeah,
behavior,
yeah.
he'll be out
11,
in half of that.
11 years is what he has to do if he behaves perfectly. 11 years is what he'll serve.
Considering how stupid he is, I doubt he'll behave himself.
He's not. I don't think he's as stupid as he is just kind of drifty and self-indulgent.
I was about to say arrogant. Arrogant works better
And
than
arrogant
stupid.
too.
Arrogant works
Arrogant
better.
too.
I think
Yeah.
he's going to grow up pretty darn quickly, actually.
Well, if he's in a white-collar prison, no, he's not. They're all just going to be sitting there smoking their cigars, going, look at the stupid
Yeah,
plebs.
it's still prison. It's still him not having any freedom. I mean, it's not going to be him breaking rocks all day or anything crazy like that.
Okay.
No
well-
chain gang for SBF.
Well, you have to remember, though, is that he's practically a shut-in. Even if this is, like, a full, like, he's, like, solitary confinement, yeah, it's going to bother him a little bit, but this is not, like, a social, like the grifting men who take advantage of young men, telling them they'll tell them how to make millions of dollars. It's not the same because they're used to being social. Sam Bankman-Fried isn't that social. Like, he's admitted it, and people who know him say he's not. So it's like, it's still going to bother him. It's just not going to be the same as it would be someone who's very social about everything. He may just be like, I could be left alone. Fuck all of you.
Yeah, I wonder how, what's her name? The Theranos chick, Elizabeth Holmes, is
I mean,
doing.
the gremlin? Oh, no, you're not talking about the gremlin.
No.
That one
Not his gremlin, the other.
God.
No, because
There is gremlin.
there's all this white collar crime that keeps making its way into the news. I think the first one of those that ever caught my attention was the whole Tyco scandal. You know, was it?
Oh, I remember that.
And they just basically made the numbers up. Like,
Oh, yeah.
And nobody will bother to check. Just put whatever you want. Just put it on. Just make up the numbers.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, if you think about it, though, a lot of these scandals are exactly the same. We're just going to make the numbers up. No one's going to check anything.
Yeah.
And they get away with it because no one checks anything because either A, people are too stupid to check, or they're too afraid. Because they're afraid that if they check it, the reality is going to crumble down and then they're going to have to deal with the ramifications. Like, it was like the Bernie Madoff stuff. It's like, no one had an accountant going, about the numbers he was spewing. Nobody. It was just
No, it's kind of amazing. Everything I see in this arena or have ever seen is investors and institutional investors, you know, like big investors and institutional investors having a lot of pull with companies. So much so that they will demand certain types of audits and certification. I mean, maybe it's just because I deal with different types of stuff than things that are purely in the finance world. But I don't see anything. I don't see how somebody like SBF could have gotten away with this crap. Certainly why any institutional investor, and I mean like a professional firm who manages investments and retirement funds and things for like big unions, that kind of stuff. What I mean by institutional investors.
the unions would have put a hit out on his head.
There's like no, I just don't know how he got away with this for so long. And maybe it's because of the people he was giving money to. Maybe, I don't know.
Partially because of the fact that they made up the certification company. It was their own, which was
that's right.
That part of it. That's how they got around that part. But we all know that if they'd done even a tenth of this to a union, the unions would have done as they learned from the mobs, and someone would be dead.
He would have vanished.
Yeah, he would be dead because the unions
Or he'd
have
be
very
playing
similar.
bridge with Jimmy Hoffa. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he would, because the unions are the way the unions are, and they would have taken care of it real freaking quick.
Would have disappeared about the same time a foundation was poured for a new major public work.
Right.
Or a new bridge was finished. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he went for a walk one day and never came back. Whoopsies. But like I remember back when CoffeeZilla was talking to the guy, and the guy who controlled Binance, who's also now in hot water, was calling out Sam Bankman-Fried's stuff on back when it was Twitter, and it was a whole just a rolling cluster of just arrogance. It's just pure arrogance. That's all it was. And truthfully, arrogance can get you far. Whether it be in finance or anything else. If people just take you, if you have people who aren't paranoid as mother flipping hell, you can get away with just being arrogant. But if you're dealing with paranoid people, they will not. It will come for you.
So looking at chat, it said it was a money laundering scheme for the Socialist Democrats, circulated through Ukraine, and then I've definitely seen that those fine infographics. I mean that. I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't, though. It didn't start out that way. What it was is he was just moving money to who he thought, and it was a whole bunch of things, but it wasn't exactly that. He was already getting called out by Binance. He was publicly getting called out by Binance. I forget his name. I think he's Chinese. He was getting called publicly out, and CoffeeZilla was calling him out, and this is before the Ukraine stuff blew up. So it's one of those things that it's just, this was happening before that. It may have been they tried to rejig everything to push it through to hide the maneuvering of the money, but this is how you can tell they're young and they don't know what they're doing, is that you got to talk to the old New York hedge fund people. They tell you how to move the money, or you got to talk to the mob. Like, one of the two. They'll tell you how to move it. But it was just that kind of stuff. It's an interesting. It sucks that money's gone, but at the same time, it's an interesting thing to watch and learn. And if you have any head for numbers or money, please pay attention and check everything. Always have a third
and
party account and check
diversify.
stuff. Yeah.
Doesn't it also say, don't put all your eggs in one basket? but
Never do it.
also-
Never.
But also, if something looks too good to be true, it isn't true.
Yep. Well, it's kind of like the people who always talk about, well, I would have gone back and invested in Apple. It's like, yes, because you have hindsight. Hindsight is 20/20. Back then, nobody thought Apple was going to do anything. Nobody knew who Google was. Like,
I was a stockbroker for the company that took Apple public, Merrill Lynch, the day they went public. I remember what people said. Everybody thought, oh, the Apple is new hot stock, and everybody was going around, I think Liz Claiborne's going to do a lot better than Apple.
yeah.
I'm a
Liz
Walmart
Claiborne was
stock.
the
Yeah.
Huh?
Walmart.
Yeah, I don't want that stock.
Liz Claiborne, like fashion and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fashion, yeah.
Get that their offering came out. They went public about the same time.
Yeah. It's just, it's one of those things where it's like, the stuff that actually is good takes you taking a chance. It never looks that good. It never does when it's not until years later that you realize what a good opportunity it was. Tesla, all of it. Like, that's just how it is, and people don't seem to understand that. It's like, oh, well, this looks good. That it's like that's not a good thing.
Right.
It's like Photoshop. It's like being on Instagram and you see someone really pretty or handsome or whatever. You take it with a grain of salt, because 90% of the time they've done some Photoshop editing.
Yep.
Or they just do what I do and just use stock photos from the internet.
There you go. It's
Yeah.
catfishing. That's what it is. It's catfishing. That's what 90% of this stuff is. It's just catfishing in a different form.
Buy a new wallet. Just keep the sample photos that are in there. Yeah, here's my
so
wife,
it's-
Morgan Fairchild. Yeah.
Instant family.
Instant family.
It's so much easier than buying my house after you fight for 3 years.
Well, let's
There you
make fun of California for a bit, shall we? I was about to
it's
start
always
talking about
our favorite
Watergate
sports.
syndrome, and it's
Oh,
like
God,
no,
please
we're not
not.
going to do that.
Let's not go down that
Let's
rabbit
not
hole,
go down
please.
that. Basically, it all falls under the category of it seemed like a good idea at the time. Once you
Yeah.
get a group of like-minded idiots in a room, it is astonishing what people can talk themselves into. Hey,
Oh,
is this
heck
going to
yeah.
be okay? Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Look at, so far it's been fine. It'll be fine. Yeah.
It'll be
Great
fine.
conversations. There's certain flags that you can put up, like saying, what's the worst that can happen? Or it'll be
that one's
fine.
a terrible one.
Oh, yeah.
That one's a terrible.
Don't do that one.
That one makes my entire body clench. What's the worst that could happen? Great,
Yeah.
you jinxed us. Thank you.
Lego tells California police departments to stop using its minifigure heads. So, there's a law that came into being in California in January, which essentially regulates what they can put out in terms of mugshots. So police departments
Yeah,
have
God
started
forbid
just
we have
putting out
mugshots.
these kinds of photos with Lego heads.
I
And they
know,
even
it's
go so
great,
far as-
isn't it?
Yeah, isn't that great? I like the fact that number 4's kind of got like that chin strap thing beard going on.
The neck beard.
Uh-huh.
No, it's not a neck beard. It's the chin strap. See, the neck is clean. It's just like the weird chin strap thing with the mustache. And number 2
Oh, okay.
really looks like, I could think about this, but Lego is not enjoying the fact that people are putting these things out. First of all, it makes them kind of useless. These pictures are no longer fit for purpose. I mean, it's a mugshot. Like, for instance, if you want to have like a wanted poster or something, it could be kind of nice to know what the person actually looked like.
Well, I mean, but if
Well,
California
they don't
changed
do
the law
that
with
here
it-
anymore. Like, very rarely do they release any sort of picture of anybody.
God
Yeah,
forbid.
you might start to
Someone
notice a
might-
pattern in the crime statistics. So
Yeah.
it's important not to show them.
Someone might go vigilante, or someone might go, "Hey, you look familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want you anywhere near me. Goodbye."
Well, anyway, I think this is pretty funny. Lego has contacted
yeah.
the Southern California Police Department, telling them to stop using images of minifigure heads to protect suspects' identities after news of the practice recently went viral.
That's pretty funny. I just
Oh, bless their hearts.
Yeah, I filed that under lol.
you know,
Yeah,
that's long
no.
out. That's a lol
That's
cow.
fitting.
Thing
That's
of
fitting.
lol, I saw like a meme from let's see, how long ago was this? This was from 2021. But somebody put out an article. Here's why you probably don't need to rely on a VPN anymore. Of course, everybody said glowy, fed, whatever. That was the response that this article got back in 2021. Sure, you have encryption,
But it's
but
not.
that
It's terrible.
but a VPN buys you other things other than just encryption,
Yeah.
right? So
Don't think it hides you. I know you know that, Harry.
yeah,
Well, they sell your info anyway. Like, a lot of them been caught being owned by Chinese companies, and it's kind of like, yeah, like, no thanks. F off.
yeah, but we have a no logging policy.
Oh boy. That'll do jack
and
shit.
who basically vets you for having a no logging policy?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, that's sort of the
it's
problem.
like-
I
Yeah,
just,
I know,
I just think
they
it's funny because a VPN, in addition to encryption, is a good thing. So what encryption? Okay, what encryption buys you is two things. It gives you an idea of who the person is on the other end of the connection. So when you connect to your bank and it's got a secure server certificate, it tells you that your bank you're talking to the right person.
Yep.
Right? And the encryption is supposed to make it so that somebody can't listen in to your communications in the middle. What it doesn't necessarily do for you is hide the fact that you're talking to that other person on the net. And that can be troublesome for people. So if you want to have some amount of anonymity, just so that your cable company can't sell your private information saying, this person spends, this much of their time looking at adult sites and this much of their time looking at prepper sites and this much, whatever thing the government's coming after you for, right? That's where the VPN comes into play. So you really want to use all the tools at your disposal, in an appropriate way. To say you don't have to use a VPN, well, I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't, but I think it's a good tool, and I don't think you should listen to NBC News when they tell you that you don't need to use it. Just layer the protection on top of it. Multiple concentric rings of security is what you want.
Yeah.
But understand, it's only part of your protection. You need more things.
You need more things.
When in doubt, physical VPN.
Yeah.
Physical firewall and physical VPN. One that you actually control and have access to.
Yeah, exactly.
The best solution is just to go to your own planet, have your own sun and power station, and no other people. That's what I want.
The best thing to do is to be completely off grid. That's the only way to do it. Let's go full prepper. Let's just go to town.
Well, since you brought that up, California is wrestling
segue.
with electricity prices and income-based fixed charge rate structure might be the best solution. So this is a terrible article. So they've jacked up the prices for electricity in California to the point where they are double the national average. Well, more than that.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of addressing the why is the power costs so goddamn much problem, they're just trying to make it so that rich people subsidize the rates of poor people and not change the actual cost. It's quite the little shell game. It's like instead of them being on the defensive for why is the power so expensive and you're still saying you're not making enough money to do what you need to do, let's instead talk about the inequity of the bills that are way too high.
And find some rich people to subsidize our broken system.
Well, also, they're trying to play off anybody who has substantial solar panels as being some sort of fat cat who's trying to skip out on their responsibility to the grid. It's like, wait a second. You guys, for the longest time, said we don't want to build new power plants. If you can put solar up on your roof and not make it so we don't have to build new power plants and support the grid by putting power back in during like the hot sunny days when people are running the air conditioners and stuff, we want you to do that. And man, that narrative has flipped 180 degrees to if
Now
you
you're
have
the bad
solar
guy.
panels, you are a parasite. You benefit from being connected to the grid, but you don't pay your fair share of what it takes to maintain it. These assholes,
saying them all.
these assholes that get appointed by the governor, and they just have like a revolving door where they go to and from the public utilities getting paid tons of money.
Yeah.
And there was a
you've got some
proposal somebody
systemic
put through
problems.
just saying you can't, if you're on the Public Utilities Commission, you cannot work for or have any of your family work for any of the public utilities that you govern for 10 years. That seems like a minimum to me.
How about ever?
How about ever?
Yeah.
But 10 years would be a
Seriously.
nice start.
Yeah, the problem is, so they don't work for them. They go and work for another company that happens to be a consultant. You can find ways to separate yourself from it legally to where you can get around most of that kind of restriction.
People will always find a workaround.
Yeah, you're
The
right.
nature of being human,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
sadly.
Yeah, so we're looking at people with at higher incomes being charged a fixed price of $70 before they even pay for a single kilowatt. And if they have solar panels and don't use the grid at all, they still have to pay that $70. I predict that you're going to see a lot of people just getting off the grid completely.
Well, it's one of those things where it's kind of like,
Or just leaving California.
well, there's apparently a lot of celebrities just leaving California, which is their main bread and butter. But anyway,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things where it's kind of like, I thought the Los Angeles County mansion tax was supposed to fix all that. Oh, wait, you all still haven't brought in anywhere close to the money that you all had one study that said you were going to bring all that money in for? Didn't work? Oh, color me shocked. Anyone with an economist background could have told you that shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna be drinking my Victory Gin Assassin. That's for damn
There you
sure.
go.
Well, he's making 1984 references.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
So let's see, where should we go? Well, at least we don't live in South Africa. So I can't remember if I mentioned this, but Johannesburg and Cape Town, a bunch of South African towns live off of, for their water supply, just rainfall. They don't have reservoirs. They don't have a proper system of underground water. They get their water from rainfall.
Which is
And when it
pure
doesn't
genius.
rain, things suck. So right now, we're looking at places in South Africa where the water is there just isn't any. You're going to turn on the tap and there's not going to be anything. So your water comes from a truck and you walk out there every day, just like your ancestors might have, and then fill a giant container full of water and then walk back to your house. Because that's what you do in first world countries.
South
Fantastic.
Africa is just a sad, sad case. They are descending down into, they're almost to the level of a developing nation. They'll
Yeah.
descend into that and do, essentially, a lot of Western African countries did this when the French pulled out. Just things went to shit.
Yeah.
Goddamn
This is
French.
going to go. This is going to go to shit, too. I just feel terrible. South Africa was a jewel. It was going to be the beginning of, Africa's renaissance, and it was, it was a place that was as developed as the West, as the United States is, and now it's a third world hellhole. They're killing each other. Just war, and it's not just black people killing white people. It's black people killing black people. It's everybody's murdering everybody down there. They're beginning to lose control, beginning to lose civic control.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Nigerians who move to the U.S. are incredibly successful. And it seems like there are pockets of Africa where some really hardworking, smart, driven people live. And what they're doing is they're just getting the hell out of Africa. So
Yeah.
what few parts of Africa aren't full of people that behave like, I'm not saying they're idiots, but
Kenya.
behave like idiots.
Mombasa, Kenya is like that.
They're just
Modern-
getting drained.
Yeah, exactly. They just leave as fast as they can.
So I actually have this in the palate cleansers I just keep meaning to go to. But so traditional lie detector in Africa. I don't understand Africa, which is why I always bring it up to Skep.
This is how to detect lies using grass. It's one of the unique traditions from Africa, where some
Oh, that
people
shit.
reveal a lie. No need for sophisticated tools. Just use 2 handfuls of grass. Before performing the ritual, the alleged perpetrators are told to take an oath to the ancestors. The way this ritual works is
Witchcraft.
that whoever tells the truth can be released from the grass, but if he tells a lie, the grass will entangle him. After
Oh no. God, is this just BS, Skep, or is this actually like a real thing?
This is typical of a shamanistic practice, particularly where they imbue some earthly thing like a clump of grass with. This is very typical for Central and Southern Nile-Hamitic Africa, the south of the sub-Saharan Africa. Pretty
Okay.
typical.
Well,
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
push those bundles together, and then they'll just twist when you run into them. It's
Maybe
kind of
they
like
should
having
use sticks.
the asshole with the Ouija board who's just trying to spell out boobs. You know, that's
Right, yeah.
you know, boobs.
Yeah.
Started out as boo, but then they got inspired. Anyway,
Ouija board fights are fun.
yeah.
What do you do in a Ouija board fight? Just throw them at each other?
No. It's two people fighting over what the spirits are going to say.
yeah. I can just imagine though. May the spirit compel you, thwack.
Well, we're just sort of all over the place right now. Hey, Sora, you want to see a cute animal?
I suppose so. All right, hit me with it.
Welcome the newest adorable member of the family, a rare Phenaloca
Phenaloca?
pup
What
weighing
the heck is that?
It's a
little baby?
Phenaloca.
It's
a
a little meerkat
Phenaloca.
cousin. It's a meerkat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
it's a
okay.
Nocturnal
baby.
animals native to
Or weasel
Madagascar,
cousin,
and
technically.
they live in the lowland
Oh
and
my God,
rainforest
it's
areas. What a
adorable.
cutie pie.
Cutie pie.
It is actually pretty cute.
Look like a little puppy.
Oh.
Of some sort. Yeah.
Good job.
There you go.
Oh, there's,
Nashville Zoo. Hey, we could tell Kefki to go there and then do a live report from the zoo for the minions.
Oh, it's a fusa. It's part of the civet family.
And while she's
Yeah.
there, she could go to Interstate Barbecue.
Oh, God,
I'm going
Harry.
to keep telling her to do that until she goes.
Let it go.
No.
Let it go.
No.
Build a bridge. Get over it.
No. Absolutely not. Okay, so that's a Phenaloca. Okay, we can cross
Yeah,
that
it's a
off the
civet.
list. Yeah.
Carnivores. Yeah, they're civets. Yeah.
Okay.
They're civets.
Oh, interesting.
They're like, if you watch the Madagascar movies, they're part of the fusa family, and the fusas are the
Oh,
big
so
scary things that go
cute.
after the lemurs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big eyes.
Good times. Oh, what do I have this under? Oh, it's under grit. Oh, this just amused me. This is from a few years ago, but 11-year-old boy shoots intruder.
I told
Hell
you to
yeah.
kill
I remember
him
this.
all
I
that
think I remember
with
this.
a gun if you didn't get out of my house.
11-year-old Chris Gaither was home
I
alone
knew it was
Wednesday
Alabama. I
morning
knew it was Alabama or
when he
New
heard a
Orleans.
noise.
Talladega.
I knew
Someone
it. I knew it.
had broken into his house. Scared, Chris grabbed a 9mm handgun.
Yeah. Downstairs and told
job,
me he was
Chris.
gonna kill me and F you all that.
The intruder made it out the front door with a hamper in hand. That's when Chris started firing off bullets. As the intruder was to
Bullets,
jump
yep.
his fence,
Well, that's
he
my
was
hamper.
off, and final shot hit the bad guy in the leg.
I shot through a hamper that he was carrying, and it was a full metal jacket bullet. I went straight through the back.
Yeah.
Wait for it.
God damn right it was.
And he started crying like a little baby.
A baby.
Then I went over and put one in
He
his
started
brain.
crying like a little baby. Let's
Even
hear that
the
again. That's
t-shirt,
the best
not
part.
on my level.
And he started
Good
crying
on you,
like a little
Chris.
baby.
Fuck yeah.
Good boy. Good boy.
Yes.
Okay.
I got it. Good
Oh,
job.
lad.
hope
I
he's doing
love that
well.
clip.
See, that
Well done.
to make it a little serious of a point,
Adorable.
that is what education and not fear mongering about guns, a tool, yields positive results for the child. Not, oh, he found his dad's gun and he never fired it before and he fumbled it and ended up shooting himself. Kind of a scenario which would probably happen somewhere like in Chicago, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
No.
I'm pretty sure this kid has been educated about guns for 5 or 6 years by now.
I think either
Good
daddy
boy.
or granddaddy was in Vietnam too.
Yeah,
The way
I
he's
mean, I wouldn't
Oh, okay.
cry
So
like a little baby.
Okay.
okay, I
Okay.
wasn't actually going to bring this up because it's kind
Do
of
it.
serious, but you're the one that mentioned Vietnam, so this is on
Oh,
you.
Lord, here we go.
Also
Don't bite
under
me.
no, also under grit. This is a statement from a Vietnam Medal of Honor recipient. Okay.
Oh Lord, I think.
No,
I know
it's
what this is.
good.
Go
It's
for
but
it.
it's
Okay.
serious. It's not funny.
Yeah.
It's serious.
I heard an old hollow thump, thump, thump. And I said, oh, that don't sound good. That sounds like 60 millimeter mortar. And I said, there are 12 mortars in the air. I bet they've got this hill zeroed. I didn't want any shrapnel in my face. I didn't want it messed up with shrapnel. So I see this big tree, and so I go face first, body first into the tree. If I'm gonna get shrapnel, I'm gonna get it in the back. So I started counting the impacts, counted 12, and I'm thinking, I didn't feel the sting, so, if I've got shrapnel, it's not much. I could smell the burned eggs. And if you're close enough to a mortar round to smell the burnt egg, it's in your hip pocket. So I knew it was very, very close. So I said, I'm going to get up and walk over and talk to Battalion Commander Lieutenant Green about being in my foxhole. I walked over, and one of the 12 rounds had gone in that foxhole.
Yeah, this guy,
Lucky.
I worry. Okay, I don't know if I want to go down this rabbit hole, but I really do worry about the modern military and think, God, what would happen if there was like a time machine and we took some of these coddled, diverse troops that we're building and put them in a situation like this man lived through? I just don't see it going well.
The issue is that there still were coddled ones back then. They still were in battles. This whole I say this as someone who has Vietnam vets in the family and everything like that. They were not these hard ass. They became hard asses, which is what happens, which is what always happens. It's like you either get ready, you either fucking how do I say this? You either evolve or you die, and that's the nature of it. And it would happen back then. It's going to happen now. It's the way it always is.
But as you water down the training that they get so that you can have a more diverse military, the training that largely helped save this man's life, all of the beasting and the basic training and the building, the morale building, and the fact that there was unit cohesion, all of the things that went into preparing this man to deal with this situation. How many of those things are we just doing away with now? Because we want a different looking military.
And inclusion now. We have that takes the place of unit cohesion. We have people who appreciate what it means to walk in history.
That's true. Being on the right side of history is much more important than being on the right side of victory.
But you're coloring it with your own perspectives.
Of
That's
course.
The problem is that through the large part of human history, most men who fought in battles, and statistically other people as well, but men predominantly, never got training. They barely ever had training. There was a very small stint of human history where training happened a lot in war. But this whole... Because the thing is, if it was unit cohesion, he would have been in the foxhole with his people. He wasn't. It was the fact that he wasn't that saved his life. This whole idea that we can just go, well, they're DIA, they're just going to die. Yeah, they're going to die. There's a lot of people that die. War is nature of that, is a law of attrition. It's going to happen. But at the same time, there are a lot of reading testimonies from the American Civil War, reading it from the Revolutionary War. There were so many people who went into that never even holding a goddamn musket, let alone anything else, that had no idea how to use it. This idea, yes. Are they coddled? Yes. But this is not the first time in human history that human beings have been coddled.
Well, you're right. You're absolutely right. If you look at when they first started modern warfare, they went and did some studies, and they found that the vast majority, it's like over 90% of people, if you give them a gun and tell them to point that gun at the enemy and shoot, will shoot over the enemy's head. They're not mentally prepared for that. And we, meaning the West and the U.S. in particular, figured out how to make training soldiers into a lot more of a science so that percentage went way up. And there's a lot that goes into that in terms of how they were able to change the psychology of the person who was holding the gun and sent into combat. I'm just sort of, to go back a little bit, I'm worried about just the mental fortitude of people that we're sending into combat now, potentially combat, right? Compared to this man. I see this man and I see him and I think, wow, I'm not sure that a lot of the people that we're trying to get into the military now could stand up to this guy's standard. Of course, he is a Medal of Honor winner, and he's probably exceptional even amongst his generation. I totally get that, but
they're
it's just
not.
I admire this man's cool under fire.
Well, the thing is that if you actually talk to him, he'll tell you very different. He wasn't cool under fire. He was just trying to survive. But the thing is, that's the thing though, is like, as Chaos in chat said, war doesn't determine who's right. War determines who's left. Like it's the fact that at the end of the day, there is no moral in war. There isn't. Like, we can Geneva Convention crap all the time. It doesn't change anything. If they want to survive, they're gonna have to learn. If they join the military. Because let's face facts, most people who are joining the military aren't joining it because they're like, I get to paint my nails. They're not doing that. Most of it still has the perpetuation of what being in the military is. But this stoic, I have a gun and I am, is a myth.
This guy's not Rachel Levine.
Yeah, actually, the guys like that are really on top of it almost never talk about the stuff.
Rachel
Anybody
Levine
who runs
made-
around talking about how they
Rachel
got a
Levine
gun,
made Admiral. This guy never made Admiral.
yeah, he never made Admiral.
So
He doesn't have what it takes.
Yeah, he doesn't Admiral.
Technology has also changed the very nature in which, I say we, I predominantly mean you guys, but we, the West, America,
Canada's
whatever.
still done a lot of stuff with technology for war-wise.
I don't want to say wages war, but participates in war through drones, be they, helicopter drones or Ukrainians or, I'm making somewhat of a joke there in using proxies to fight wars for them. You don't need boots on the ground. You could decimate a country just from long range ordnance or through strategic use of drones. The types of people that I would equate this man to in the modern parlance would be, your special forces, the guys who are still men, who have the training, who have that certain mindset that they can get through that process to begin with, and then be able to graduate to an operator. Those, I believe, you're not going to find any troons there. I'm sorry, you're just not. You're going to find the people who can be cool under pressure.
Did you say troons? Did you say troons?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Training activists are troons.
I know.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
it's
if
a bit
it was
of a breathtaking slur. It's kind of like the N-word for those people.
Okay. The only thing that has kept me not speaking normally on this channel every Saturday night is the fact that my language, my normal day-to-day language, would get this channel canceled, and I'm not going to do that because I drop slurs left, right, and center. I don't give a shit. Skep, I'm too old. I'm too crippled. I don't give a shit. If somebody wants to haul off and punch me in the face because I called them I almost said it. If I call them a slur, so be it. I just really don't care. Anyway, back to this. So I think that although I don't like it, I don't think that the necessary psychological standards and stuff, because literally I've seen one of these outposts that we bought from you guys as a drone command outpost that the Canadian military bought, and it's literally I walk in there, I go, what is this, like an esports arena kind of thing? And
video games.
It was a bunch of kids sitting around playing. Yeah, but these aren't video games. These are multi-million-dollar weapon systems that could, if they wanted to, they could unleash this thing on Uganda and blast the entire area. It's both amazing and terrifying because they've done away with the psychological hit that being in combat can take, and the toll that it can take on a person, and separating them from reality, in that maybe it's partially conditioning through video games, but the training specifically helps them remove themselves from thinking the target that they're shooting at is a live target. It's something that exists out in the world. It's not GTA. And like I said, it's both terrifying. So I don't think that the same psychological necessities that were there for the men who had to fight in actual ground wars like Vietnam or the Greatest Generations or what have you, or even the operators. So
I just don't see Rachel Levine being shoved in a glider pulled behind a heavy bomber and then let her glide almost dead stick behind the lines in Normandy.
No, but he could tell 500 men to go literally walk off a cliff and feel nothing about it.
And part of that might just be more a health and safety type thing in the military than the troops themselves, because they're not the ones that get to decide what they're going to do and not do.
But
that's
the thing
normally
is
the
like
way that it is organized. Yes, that's correct,
Yeah.
but
You get no say.
the issue with the military has always been, as we've seen with how many vets are on the street, it doesn't matter how much of, air quotes, a man they are, it takes a psychological hit. This guy probably has PTSD nightmares that would make everybody in chat, even Assassin,
I couldn't even
piss
begin
himself.
to imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing, and that's my issue, is that once again, I have massive respect for what these people do. I will always have massive respect for Navy, military, everybody. I don't give a damn what military you come from. I mean, I like your country, but I understand what being a soldier is as best I can, considering
Navy
I never
guys
joined.
are smarter and better looking, though.
Well, better firefighting.
No comment. Anyway, I know, but it's one of those things where it's kind of like, we know the psychological toll. Like, yes, there is some stuff that has been opened up because of diversity and inclusion, but we still haven't lowered the IQ level. Because if we wanted to, we could just get the really stupid ones, give them a gun, point them, train them, and dogs, and shove them out there.
IQ is not the issue here, because
I know, but what I'm saying is that there's a correlation between the lower IQ, the more likely you are to have PTSD. That's part of the reason why we don't do it.
Really?
Yes. Jordan Peterson has talked about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that particular data, because I would think that intelligence is correlated with neuroticism, and I would think the opposite would happen.
Well, intelligence gives you the ability to process it. If you're too not intelligent enough, you can kind of not have the capability of processing it.
The following is a joke, not to be taken seriously. I still have PTSD about 6th grade camp. But
no comment.
Okay,
yeah,
anyway,
you can make up for it.
I don't actually have PTSD.
That was no ordinary camp.
I know.
No, I know.
But it's still the whole fact of, like, I think the issue with modern day is that there is painted too much. There's putting them on a pedestal out of respect for what they have done, but then putting people on a pedestal just because of the era they come from. Like, I don't agree with the term greatest generation. I don't think they're the greatest generation. I know why they are called that. I have massive respect for them. I have family who died in World War II. Like, I do. The issue is that there were so many men who lost their lives needlessly because of stupid commanders who were only in their position either because mommy and daddy had money and paid for a commission, or B, they were born into a British royal family, a member of the royal family, and they got a higher commission.
Or they had tea with Eleanor Roosevelt.
But
wait. Bought commissions were out by the turn of by 1900.
There was equivalencies in the military, like people kissing the right ass to make sure their kid got a higher up, or they went to a very specific school.
I have to add something, Serenity, because in my mind personally, when I say something like the greatest generation, it's not about what they did or
I know you don't feel that way.
But hold on, let me. It's about what they are willing to what they were potentially able to do from what we the civilians and the people in power, what we potentially would ask them to do. So,
yeah, but there was a lot of mythos to it because a lot of them didn't understand what they were signing up for. There were ones who did. The older ones who had fought in World War I understood, but there was a lot of we're going to go down the propaganda pipeline because of the propaganda of all the stuff of being like, serve your country, that kind of stuff. And that happens even nowadays because there is the mythos to it of you'll be a hero to your country and you'll be treated with respect. Anyone who's seen what veterans are put through in any country because we are not the only ones who do it, not by a long shot, knows that respect is not given. He got a Medal of Honor. Okay, that's wonderful. He deserved it. Every last bit of it. But at the same time, how much hell did that man have to go through with psychological issues, housing issues, whatever?
How much of his life has been lost to that
and
call?
And that's kind of the other thing of like, you could you can come from a 5-generation long family that's in the military. You get in a foxhole in Afghanistan and watch your buddy's head explode, and you're fucked for the rest of your life.
I feel like we're stuck like a Jeep in a Korean winter in 1840.
In the Chosin River.
In the Chosin River, we're getting stuck.
Reservoir about 1950.
So I have to at least talk. We have to at least talk about the things that are in the thumbnail for the show. So along those lines.
Yeah, what was that? I was like, what?
Well, we're getting there. We have to talk about.
That's what I'm trying to give you the segue, Harry. Work with me here.
So, but before we do, we'll do them in order.
There you go.
Company CFO accused of using funds for homeless to buy luxury goods for girlfriend. Now, we talked on a previous episode about a company called Shangri-La Frontiers. Or Shangri-La, what is it? No, not Frontiers. Shangri-La Frontier is an anime. God, I outed myself. Damn. I don't
he
watch.
Doesn't like anime. Everybody.
I don't watch anime.
Like it all.
Shangri-La Industries. God damn it. God damn it. Damn it.
Motherfucker.
Son of a bitch.
Now we're gonna Google what it is.
It's not shameful. It's just not very good. No, you can Google it. Go ahead. Knock yourself out. Okay. According to the complaint, Cody Holmes, 29, used his position with Shangri-La Industries to transfer vast sums of money to himself and Madeline Witt, 28, to pay for exotic cars, expensive handbags, jewelry, private jets, concert tickets, and the monthly rent of a 6,500 square foot mansion in Beverly Hills. Remember, in a previous episode, we talked about they had a whole bunch of money and they tried to do these projects and they all just sort of ran out of money and shut down. And at the time we're thinking, how hard can it be? Well, apparently it's really hard when your CFO's trying to get busy with a woman who's way out of his league.
I'm
there's
hoping
him, there's her.
I'm hoping he at least got a handsy out of it.
Oh, he got more than that.
Blowy.
He was basically using the money that was supposed to be used to renovate structures to house homeless people.
Those two are a love match.
Well, he's simping for her.
He had money.
Yeah. She was
attracted to his wallet.
There was an incomparable thing that just attracted her to him, Skep.
Yeah. It's just, he had that special something.
Yeah,
exactly.
Certain special something.
Woo.
Yeah.
So, jail?
So this is why why that homeless thing with all that money behind it, just like, we don't know why we couldn't finish these. I guess we just ran out of money. Well, your CFO was getting busy with little Miss Hot stuff there.
How much you want to bet she has an OnlyFans account?
I'm not taking that bet.
Oh, come on.
I'm not taking that bet.
Wussy.
No.
Well, we can tell someone got a lot of plastic surgery because she looks like every other Hollywood.
Yep.
Broad.
Well,
so they're just starting charges now, or is there something?
Well, there's a complaint. They're basically going after.
Yeah.
According to the complaint, several years ago, Shangri-La Industries utilized state funding, not Frontiers, funding made available through affordable housing programs such as Project Home Key to build and maintain low-income housing project designated for the homeless. But several of the properties are now in foreclosure, including Project Home Key developments at former motels in Redlands and San Bernardino.
Harry, of course you've watched the anime that's about the crappy VR game and him living his entire life in it. Why?
I'm aware that it exists. I didn't say I watch it. I just know that it exists. Leave me alone.
Yep.
Skep, why do we associate with these types of people?
Because we're fun.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, I actually watched Solo Leveling and enjoyed that. That was the Korean one that
Solo
has the hate boner for Japanese people because it's Korean. That one's pretty funny.
Yeah. The light novel and everything like that's really good. But anyway, continuing on.
I disavow. We'll talk about it after the show. Anyway,
does the article say whether he is just named or is she marked as accomplice?
No, I think she's involved in this. I think she's named as well.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, she probably could claim that that she didn't know what was going on. But yeah, this is why, even with all the money behind it, these things never got finished. I was a little puzzled at the time. Now we know. So this is really a follow-up. So that's from the thumbnail.
Fantastic.
But what do you know all these NIMBYs, Sora? These people who keep them from building all this housing in nice neighborhoods? Because why should the homeless have to live in places that are underserved, with that aren't like near a good coffee shop and a Whole Foods and things like that? Why should they have to do that, right? So San Francisco opened homeless housing in this wealthy neighborhood. Then the 911 calls began.
What did they think would happen?
Well, they actually placed it next. It's a 141 unit, 4-story housing project, and they placed it next to a public safety facility, meaning police station type thing. And in spite of the fact that it's next door to a police station, they've just been having all these calls. So calls to 311 911 and HomeRise's front desk staff have skyrocketed to more than 1,166 service calls, 656 of them police-related, since opening, according to the San Francisco Police South District Station.
Were they any of them legitimate, or were they just being assholes and...
Well, it's hard to say. It says this is a great deal of pain for neighbors and HomeRise residents. Mission Bay, blah, 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 blah. Elected officials, yada, yada, yada. But the main thing here is when you open up a thing like this and take a bunch of people who've been homeless, maybe without doing proper screening, to get the ones that need other types of help and not just a house, and you throw them in there, that it's maybe not something you want in your backyard. Yep. Because if they're making extra money doing illegal things or bad things, they're just going to keep doing it, but they're just going to do it as your neighbor instead.
Oh, they do it here, and what they've done. High school friend of mine in her neighborhood. There was this was a few years back. They'd said, "Oh, we're thinking of building like a halfway home, but we are going to do community, like, what did they call it? Like just an open
Community
house,
outreach.
right? To see if that's something for the community." And of course, it was a resounding, "We don't want it," because we don't want that. There's multiple elementary schools. There was a couple of high schools within walking distance, like not next door, but also there was an like a assisted living for old people, offshoot from a hospital nearby. So like lots of vulnerable-ish people, and where they wanted to stick this halfway home. And so they're like, "Oh, okay, thank you very much. We listen to our community 100%.
Do it anyway.
Goes away.
We totes care.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah. And there was the sign goes down. Nothing is heard again. No problem. New sign goes up. It is mid-rise apartment building. Fantastic.
Should have been the first red flag. Should have been the first red flag if anybody was paying attention. To been like, wait a minute.
Everything is fine. It's built. It has the ads of like whatever development company got the bid, right?
Yeah.
And nobody, of course, at this point, because you're like thinking, "Oh, great, they listened to us. We did the thing." Nobody, I guess, followed up, or there was nothing suspicious. Of course, once it was finished building, you can guess what exactly type of mid-rise apartment complex it was.
Oh, yeah.
It was the halfway home.
Yep.
It lasted 3 years. There were so many complaints, so much letter writing campaigns and everything that they shut it down. Like they were actually angry people. Very few. And then between that time and now, this was pre-COVID. So then COVID hit and everything. She's told me the majority of all her neighbors have moved away because they don't trust that not happening again. And the problem is when all these people move away, whoever is left, if they were to come back into the neighborhood with the same thing, they will not have the same outcome. They will be there permanently. So all these people who fought, one, but decided to move because they didn't trust them not doing the same thing. Because basically what's happening here is they're taking individual homes and doing land assembly. So you'll take what used to be these adorable little character homes, and they will purchase 3-4 houses in a row from the people, usually quite elderly people, and they'll kind of like force them to sell I'm gonna say they're saying something. They're probably like, look at all this money you can get.
Incentivize, I think is the word.
But the problem is that they'll give them all this money, but there's no way for them with the money that they get from them to purchase anything else. They're out of the purchase market. If they didn't stay in their home, they just took money and left, there's nowhere to buy. Unless not in the same neighborhood that they were vacating, because once you leave the city, you're not coming back. That's just the way it is here right now.
They did the what is it, like end of life home loan or mortgage, where it's like you sell it to a company and you live there till the end of your life.
Reverse mortgage.
Reverse mortgage. Thank you. That's what it is. They may have.
The way to sell those to older people is you find some famous old person, and then he sells out all his other old friends, old cohorts, right? By like, I'm Andy Griffith. I don't think he ever did one, but hi, I'm Pat Boone for reverse mortgages. It's always like catheters or home mortgages or something.
Or Liberty Mutual.
No, it's Liberty Medical is what you're thinking of for catheters.
Yeah, that's what it is. Liberty Medical.
It's not an anime, but I seem to know anyway. Funny that. Man, I don't see ads like that much anymore because I just don't really watch TV.
Oh, I do.
Remember shows would sort of end, and then for 15 minutes you just hear about catheters, and then the courtship of Eddie's father would come back.
About catheters. I don't know what channels you're watching.
That's fascinating. I like old things, so I watch a lot of shows for old people.
You like your Glockenspiel? You like your Glockenspiel?
No.
That? No.
I watched Honey West not that long ago. That's a Anne Francis thing from like
Honey West.
Yeah,
I remember Honey West.
Yeah. Yeah, my
diabetes.
My
Tom Selleck, Wilford Brimley.
Friend of mine, his dad used to go steady for a while with Anne Francis.
Steady.
So I'm only 2 degrees of separation from Anne Francis.
Did she wear his Letterman jacket?
Well, I'm speaking euphemistically so as not to pin it down too much, but yeah. Anne Francis.
Assholes.
Why are we talking about Anne Francis? We're not talking about entertainment tonight.
No.
That's right.
Colonial Penn. Colonial Penn, Mr. Yes is right. Colonial Penn with Alex Trebek. That's what it was.
Oh,
Thank
yeah,
you, Mr.
that's a good
Yes.
one.
Thank you.
When Sam Waterston was on Saturday Night Live one time, he did a fake ad for for an insurance company that protected old people from robots that would take all their prescription medicine. It was great. I should.
Someone bought it.
I can't show an SNL thing. I'll try to find the link.
Or Jamie Lee Curtis with Activia. Thank you, Chaos Archives.
Yeah, good times. Old people selling out fellow old people. Good times.
Woo, gotta love
At
it.
least Activia, it's like if you don't like it, you're out like $6.
Don't forget
not your
Wilford
whole-
Brimley with the diabetes.
Mr. Yes listed Tom Selleck and Wilford Brimley as well. And
Nice.
and then Chaos said I have a.
Man, we could probably spend 2 hours just talking about this.
Oh, Kirstie Alley, may she rest in peace, and Jenny Craig.
Oh, yeah. I guess
Is Kirstie
Marie
Alley
Osmond does
really
Jenny
dead?
Craig, doesn't she now? Or is it Weight
I thought
Watchers?
she died.
Yeah, no, Kirstie Alley
She's
died.
still dead.
Is it Kirstie or Kirsty?
Kirstie?
Kirsty.
Or Kirsty. I thought it was Kirsty.
Kirstie Alley. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I actually, Functional, you said you wanted some red meat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got some, but it's really
But it's
it's Kahlua flavored. You're gonna like this. This has something to piss off everybody.
Oh, good.
This next article will, if it doesn't piss you off, I don't know what will, because it really pisses me off. Okay, I wanted to cry. Bury a woman stunned after Hawaii home built on wrong lot. Okay.
How?
Okay. In 2018, Ann Reynolds bought an acre of empty green land where the stars aligned on Hawaii's Big Island. She had plans to one day build a healing retreat for women there. Then someone accidentally built a house on it.
It already hurts. Okay.
Like, it's terrible. I felt like I wanted to cry. There is this house on my land and it's not mine. A lawyer for the developer, however, argues that the development company is the only party to have sustained monetary losses in the ordeal. Okay.
What?
Reynolds, a relationship coach and energy healer from Concord, California,
Of course, it's California.
was persuaded to buy the land in Hawaiian Paradise Peak by her daughter, who lives in Hawaii. As a big believer in numerology and astrology, Reynolds said that the spot was the perfect match for her plans.
Not just a small believer in numerology.
Now, it doesn't matter if you think her reasons are valid ones or not. They're valid to her. It's her damn money. It's her land.
Oh no, I'm pissed for the fact that she lost her money. That's bullshit.
And
Like,
she can do if she can make enough money to buy a plot of land that she's going to later develop in Hawaii, more power to her. She can just sit there and sun her chakras all day if that's what she wants to do, as long as there's no kids to buy. Yeah,
sun that butthole.
Sun that chocolate.
that's right. I'm glad I didn't have to explain that joke to anybody. I believe in the sacredness and sanctity of the land. The coordinates aligned with my zodiac sign, and you could hear the ocean. Again, doesn't matter.
There we go. They hear the ocean. I agree with you.
The pandemic stalled Reynolds' plan to build a retreat on the plot she had bought at a county tax auction for $22,500. During this period, she says she received letters in the mail from a developer offering to buy the land, which she ignored. Then one day last June, just as Reynolds was about to meditate, she said she got an unusual call from a real estate agent in Hawaii. "We sold a house," Reynolds recalled the man saying. "We sold a house that happens to be on your land. You need to resolve this."
Excuse me?
You know how she resolves this? No.
Yeah.
You know how you resolve this? You fucking go to goddamn Hawaii. Excuse me. I'm sure it's a lovely place. You go to a local
Hawaiians.
construction place. You tell the guys, say, "Hey, do you boys want to have some fun? Here's some cash. I will buy pizza or whatever the locals you guys like. You're gonna take your bulldozer.
Spam
You're gonna
and
bulldoze
gravy.
that goddamn house to the ground, and then you're not gonna ask for permission. You're not gonna go through the courts because what are they gonna do? You know what's gonna happen? They're gonna go after you. Oh, you don't have the right permits for this thing. That's fine. There's gonna be some fines. Garnish your wages. Bibbity bobbity boo. Not your problem. End of the story.
Not my circus, not my monkeys.
Yeah, you're just gonna flatten that out. You clean that up. You get all the kids in the neighborhood or where is the closest neighborhood. Ask them, do you guys want to break some walls? Just smash that down. You're gonna take pictures and you're gonna
Don't mess with
send it-
Sora.
Like this pisses me off.
Don't
because
fucking mess
I
with
told you this was going to get some people pissed off.
It's the Romanian in her. It's
Yeah,
just
it is.
that's
no,
just
this is bullshit right here. Is what it is.
This is
the developer.
yeah.
That developer who sent her email said, "You know what? This is a stupid woman from California. She's a chakra healer. She's not gonna notice." So they literally, this is
Well, they
exactly
were
what they did to
chakra
her.
healer.
They got onto that property. They built it because, who's
Reasons.
gonna tell her? They're not gonna tell her.
Oh, you're
And
gonna.
there you go.
There's so much more to this because they're gonna.
Oh, God.
They don't learn their lesson.
God.
They just double down, Sora.
Oh,
It's
no.
unclear exactly how the builders bulldozed and built on the wrong lot, Reynolds said.
Oh,
She
it
believes
was-
it may
it
have
was
been due to them miscounting the number of telephone poles on the street and not using a surveyor. A lawyer for PJ's Construction told Hawaii News Now that the developer didn't want to hire surveyors. Keanu's
You can't
development
do
lawyer
that.
Peter Olson told SF Gate that this was not true. So it's alleged, right? But in the letter that they actually sent to the nice one, best efforts were made to ensure that the home was built on the correct property.
Apparently
said a letter
not.
co-signed by the construction and the developer thing. The home
Was the
was
best
not
efforts
maliciously built
just
on parcel
asking?
114.
No, it was the best effort.
Just asking, does this look like the right piece of land? Yeah, it does. Great. Let's build the place.
It wasn't just
That
an
has-
effort. It was the best effort you could do. It's, the greatest effort, the best effort.
Did they use dowsing rods? Did they use that to do
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
So they didn't mean
spirits
any
told
harm
us.
when they built a house on land
yeah,
that wasn't
no
theirs.
harm.
Not just built a
No
house,
harm.
but bulldozed the land that she bought and then built a house on it.
Oh, is that what the land used to look like?
So the mistake was only realized towards the end of the sale of the property in the summer
I'm
of
sure.
2023 when the title company was trying to close escrow. This is why you have title insurance, everybody,
Right.
right?
Thank
This is
God.
why
Yes, this is
title
why
insurance exists.
It exists.
The
Exactly
discovery nullified the sale by the developer, which never owned the land in the first place. An MLS listing for the home that was priced at $499,000 has since been taken down. The ordeal was only about to get worse for Reynolds, who says squatters moved into the empty house.
Of course.
Christ.
I maintain my thing. Just bulldoze it. They can hear it. They'll hear it. They'll feel the shaking.
Just bulldoze the house. Don't bother to look if there's anybody inside. There's not supposed to be anybody there. We made our best efforts to check for people.
And it's Hawaii, so we all know that if they're the right skin color, the Hawaiian government would just be like, well, the white people, we don't want you here. So this is fine. We can have this indigenous group here. They're the ones that matter, not you. And then go fuck yourself.
So
that really is the government of Hawaii. That
I know.
is the way they are.
Not that it matters, but I have made a staunch stance that I will never go to Hawaii. I will go all the way to Okinawa, Japan.
Hawaii's not bad. I don't know why you don't want to go to Hawaii. Hawaii's pretty lovely.
Either.
Hawaii's fine. I mean, there's lots of other places to go, but...
Well, I mean, the more and more natives, air quotes, keep saying, well, we don't want the white man here. It's like, all right.
Just go to Oahu. You won't run into many natives.
I'm going to go to Okinawa, Japan, where people
you don't want us here. We could just
don't have meth.
Remove you from the land.
Yeah.
Oahu is actually really nice.
Actually, I have run into more resentment on Oahu than I have on Maui. I've been to Hawaii more than once.
Mm-hmm.
And consistently, I find the urban areas of Hawaii obnoxious to haoles, to white people.
And the ironic thing is that most of them aren't native Hawaiian blood. Most of them are Korean.
Right. Yeah. They're from everywhere, or the Philippines. The other thing.
Yeah.
That's the other place.
And they sit there and try to act like they're native Hawaiian. Most of that population died like 120 years ago. Shut up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I still think Hawaii Five-0 was a great show.
Oh,
yes,
it was a damn
man, one of the best TV themes ever written. I mean, in terms of just being completely memorable.
Oh yeah, 110%.
And Jack Lord was great. There was this guy, a friend of mine from high school, who for some strange reason was obsessed with the actor Jack Lord. He thought he was just the coolest person ever, and he just would not shut up about Jack Lord, which was kind of weird because that show hadn't been on for a while. But he was convinced. He had his whole shtick about Jack Lord.
You just couldn't quit him.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, where are they in this entire ordeal right now? Is she just trying to get a lawyer, or is she consulting the stars, or is she waiting for the eclipse to end the world? Like, what are we doing here?
Well, okay, so basically,
the property.
people were squatting in the house. I mean, and by squatting, I mean also pooping in the house, in and on things. Yeah. And she said when she went to look at it, the back door was unlocked, and the house was literally screaming, "Rob and vandalize me." So Reynolds said her property taxes also more than doubled due to the increased value of the land. So she's hired an attorney, but she said well-versed on the art of feminine negotiation. I just took art and versed and smushed them into a new word. It's nice.
I liked it. I
was expecting to receive an offer from the developer, but the conflict only escalated in a final twist that even Reynolds didn't see coming. The developer is now suing her. In a civil case filed on January 30th, the developer alleges Reynolds was unjustly enriched by the construction of a home on her land and should pay them back.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
so beautiful. Oh, it's so scummy. I love it.
Well-versed on the art of
feminine negotiation,
end quote.
She's a California nut job.
She's from California, functional.
She's from the ritzy part of the East Bay of California.
Yeah, like mommy and daddy
have
on
money. This shit cake, and
where's she from?
Where was it? Was not Walnut Creek. God, where did she say she was from?
Or something like that.
Concord. Concord, as Jen would say, Concord.
Concord could be working town, but Concord's
not
more luxury now, isn't it?
Well, Concord has the Concord Pavilion, which, if you're a fan of jazz, that's one of the great places in the U.S. to go see jazz performances. But they also do other kinds of performances. I mean, they do other stuff. It's a great venue. That's my only reason for ever going there.
Well, it's like the only people who end up going into numerology and stars and chakras are either pothead loony bins,
Mm-hmm.
or kids who come from a lot of money where they know mommy and daddy will bail them out. So she's
Oh,
either
there are
money
other
or she's a
there are other
pothead.
classes of people than that, and I can tell you after the show because I don't want to get myself sued. But I'll name names after the show. I know more about this topic than I probably should.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope she gets nothing. I hope she loses even more money because she decided to go the route of feminine negotiation. Whatever the fuck that's supposed to be.
No, I'm sorry. I believe in private property ownership, and
Yeah, like, I don't
regardless of her
agree with
being
her
a
lawyer,
nut job, I'm totally behind her. And this developer can just go,
Go fuck themselves.
yeah, go fuck themselves.
It's like, oh, you upped your worth. I can't sell it, you morons.
They basically vandalized the property and yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to agree with her reasons. She bought it for reasons of her own. It's her damn property. She's the aggrieved party here. Everybody else can just suck it.
I hope, and in that case, I hope the developer fucking pays out immensely. I hope that
But it leaves a bad taste in
They're only
Functional's mouth.
countersuing as a way of driving her in paperwork. That's all.
Yeah, that's all they're trying to do. They're trying to bankrupt her. So this way she goes away.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
in the
I
name
thought
of
you might
property
enjoy
rights,
that.
I hope she fucking takes them to the cleaners.
Oh, absolutely, 110%. I hope this woman eats them alive.
Okay,
I
let's
hope that
test Skep's libertarian ness with this next article.
You gotta make me snap.
No, every now and then I like to just sort of see where you stand
You
on
want
this
to poke
stuff.
the bear?
Okay.
You want to poke the bear? What is
What do
wrong
we
with
got
you?
here?
101 freeway to close overnight to accommodate work on wildlife overpass.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So
Really?
is this a good use of taxpayer money? Yes or no, Skep?
Well, in point of fact, it might be. It depends on if you want to have green spaces. If you want to have green spaces, you want to have wildlife passing through. This could be something that they could actually, enrich civic life. And strangely, I find this is the sort of thing that is an appropriate use of public money if that's what the public wants. This is why I'm for states' rights. This is why I want to push all those decisions out to as local a decision level maker as we can, so people can decide if they want to have things like greenways and wildlife passageways and wildlife overpasses, natural overpasses, all the stuff that they're putting in. They're starting to put in up in Washington, Northern California. You can do that, and you can pay for it with your own taxes. That's the problem that I have is, why does somebody in Midlothian, Texas, have to pay money to a federal government that then disperses it to California to do that? There are a lot of people who are not directly involved here. If they want a damn overpass, let them pay for it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then they can charge us to come look at it. I don't care. If they think it's money making operation, knock yourself out. So I think this is great, but it's got to be done with local money.
I think it's great because if you look at what a giant highway through the desert, for instance, does, I mean, I think that humans obviously have a vested interest in development, and I think we should be able to do this stuff. But if there's easy-ish ways we can mitigate the damage that we cause to the environment when we do these things, I would rather take the brakes off of the public works and allow stuff like this to happen if it means that we can, protect the animals and get shit done at the same time. Because the alternative is to just spend years and years and years arguing about how many tiny, cute animals are going to get run over on that stupid road. And if you give the animals a path of least resistance that doesn't cause this, it's not fun to hit a deer with a car. I mean,
semi-fun.
No, it's not. Because give the wildlife its own way to just sort of coexist with us, and it's not like a huge amount of money in the big scheme of things. Versus the delays in construction that are caused by not being able to say, well, yeah, we're going to build it, but we're going to do this too.
It's steaks and chops for the whole family.
Yeah.
Not when it takes the entire
You hit a
left
moose.
side of your car out.
Hey,
Yeah.
if your
good eating.
car is undercapitalized, that's not my problem.
If you,
I'm sorry I drove a Honda Civic and it was 2 o'clock in the morning and I had no choice to come home and I busted the entire side of my car.
You know, I'm just
That'll
teasing.
happen.
You know,
I
I'm just
know.
kidding.
We're going back and back. Skep, come on. No, I'm kidding.
if it's a moose, you become dinner.
Well,
yeah, no,
this
if it's a
one was
moose,
what,
I'm
15? Was it like 1500 cc, 1700 cc engine? It's not big, right?
No, it's not. It was a 2001 Honda Civic EX.
So it's like
a tiny car.
It's like 1.8 liters, that kind of thing. I forget how
Yeah.
many liters was in my
1.3.
455 that I hit that deer with.
Yeah, no.
What is 455 cubic inches in liters?
Oh God, I'm not doing that.
It's like 9.6 liters or something like that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, modern cars can't cope with deer on freeways and stuff. So I think it's fine.
It's 7.5 liters.
Oh, okay, good.
We've built I think 2 here in Ontario over major highways. There was one built in Banff and another in Alberta, I want to say. I can't speak to those, but I know that the 2 that they've built here have actually made a resounding impact. The animals did learn, yes. There's less auto accidents along that stretch. There's less animal control issues. Now, I can't say, and I haven't been able to find the data to support whether or not it's paying for it itself, but I think that we, as the sort of de facto supreme being on this planet, kind of have a little bit of responsibility to be stewards of it and try to protect it. I'm by no means, I mean, you guys know me by now, I'm by no means like, you know, saying we shouldn't advance and shouldn't like fucking go to the moon and further and, you know, whatever, expand and develop and whatever. But I think we should be responsible for things like, you know, not killing the turtles and the ocelots and the foxes or whatever. Like,
Reasonable
one of
accommodation
I know the
is
one in
reasonable, though.
Texas, I think it was Texas, is actually allowed the ocelots to fight against the endangered specific species of ocelot in Texas or whatever that were getting hit by the cars, and they built the overpass or whatever, and now they're fighting back. They haven't removed them from the endangered species list, but their numbers are going up, so that, you know, it seems to have positive results. And I think, you know, to your point, Skep, yeah, that should be the thing that the community should agree on.
Michael Hatfield says, I miss my 72 Buick Riviera. You get too far into the 70s and the build quality started dropping off. 72, still a decent year, in my opinion. My family, God, what was it? It was a 67 Buick Skylark convertible. Or was it a 68? But it was a Buick Skylark convertible, late 60s. And it was blue, and it had white leather. That was a nice car. Even when I was a little kid, I was like, that was a nice car. It had an 8-track player. Yeah. And I remember this is like when I was very little, and I remember particularly playing an 8-track tape of Nancy Sinatra singing These Boots Are Made for Walking on there. It's like a really old memory of mine. But yeah, some of those old GM cars from around 1970 were pretty damn awesome back when they knew how to make cars. We should probably talk about ocean news before we forget or before we run out of time. Does anybody know what a Barbie pig is?
Oh my God, is that like a little sea slug?
This.
Yeah.
The Barbie pig. It's they come in hot fuchsia pink apparently. They're looking at doing some mining and exploration and oil drilling and stuff in deep water, and that's where they're doing surveys, and they're running across these little bastards. Little sea pigs. Do you like these? You think they're cute? I'm not so sure. Oh, this is the unicumber. A see-through sea cucumber.
These are like sea cucumbers. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird shit in the deep ocean. The ocean's kind of terrible.
I love the creatures there. They're just so terrific.
Well, I went back and was listening to more of Carl Pilkington, who I introduced. Was it last week or was it the week before?
It was 2 weeks before.
It was 2 weeks ago. And actually, I had forgotten about this, but Carl Pilkington started talking about the blobfish And so
Yes.
I have a little clip for you of Carl Pilkington talking about that.
Yeah, but there is odd things like that. Like I saw a fish the other day, right? And honestly, it's the weirdest thing. It was just like a blob with a face. Now, I would never have said, yeah, let that swim about. I'd have killed it from day dot. I would have gone, get rid of it.
Oh, God! Under what circumstances would you have killed that from day dot?
Oh, I'm just saying, looking at it, I'd say that does not work. And it looked sad. It looked like it didn't want to be about.
Have you got her number?
And I can't help but wonder if Carl Pilkington wormed his way into my subconscious, and that's why I keep talking about all this ocean stuff. Is this really just reverberations in my head of Carl Pilkington talking about fish?
I think you've got some. Don't mix up the cause and effect. I think you just have some interests that run that way.
Probably.
You know, that's. I think that's pretty much happenstance. I like Carl Pilkington too. I like everything about Ricky Gervais pretty much.
Yeah, he's a pretty fun guy.
He's really pretty funny.
Well,
happiest comedian. There's an edge to his comedy that always kind of leaves you a little bit raw, but he is legitimately one of the funniest guys that are out there right now.
His cuts are surgical, which are really what really takes it over the top. And he
surgical with a machete. But yeah, they're precise.
A sharp machete can be used for surgery. Ask me how.
Yeah,
I should put it together an instructable on that.
Right, you know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's like uncancelable, but he's definitely putting it out there that he's not taking shit.
I think he's pretty much uncancelable.
Largely.
Maybe.
Well, he was busy taking swipes at not Epstein. Who was the sleazy producer guy? Weinstein. Before a lot of other people were, and then people would sort of groan and make noise. He'd be like, you all know about it. And that's a pretty brave guy. I don't think a whole lot scares him. But in terms of the ocean, actually, Serenity. Serenity's still with us?
Uh-oh.
Maybe she stepped away.
Oh, no, she stepped away.
Let's pretend she's here.
Well, no, we can't, because I wanted to talk about something that has her name next to it. So we'll have to talk about something else.
Are we going to talk about the study I sent you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. We were so overtime on everything right now. I'm sort of curious about something completely not important, but...
What's that?
Gen Z supposedly, like Skep, you know how you make a bed, right? You put a fitted sheet on the bottom, right? Mm-hmm. And then human being goes, and then what goes on top of the human being that's on top of the fitted sheet?
Another sheet. A top sheet.
A top sheet, right?
Right.
Well, apparently...
A flat sheet or your duvet, depending on time of the year.
Well, apparently Gen Z and millennials have decided that the top sheet is not a thing that they need to have, because I guess they just really like washing hard-to-wash things. It's some weird generational
split. Do you not put a cover
split.
on your duvet?
Well, no, they basically don't put a cover on the person. So instead of protecting...
No. So, like, your duvet set, right? So your blanket, you can put it's a cover. You slip that, like, you know how you have a pillowcase for your pillow?
Yeah.
You have a duvet cover for your duvet. So that's not a top sheet because it's attached around your blanket and it's buttoned in, and then that you wash regularly, like you wash your sheets.
Well, that'll work.
Blanket.
That'll work, but I would think that you'd go top sheet, blanket, duvet, and then the cover would be around the duvet.
Just to interject very quickly.
Yeah.
As someone who grew up country, we still use top sheets. These people can bite me, and I have a duvet cover. So
yeah, I would think it would be belt and suspenders. You'd do both.
Yeah,
I have layers. I sleep in layers. I love layers.
Exactly. I have a quilt. I have a duvet. I have another quilt.
Okay,
I
just want to make sure that we're not speaking in like different terms. So when I think of duvet, I think of the blanket that's stuffed with feathers.
Yes.
Or I guess nowadays would be.
It has an insert, like you take the duvet cover off, wash it, and then
so it's like a cotton thing or sateen thing that has your feathers, and then you put your cotton or whatever a cover on top of that. That is washed. You can wash the duvet usually, but if it's feathers, you have to go. Usually, you have to wash it in an industrial
Dry clean.
machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you have your blanket would be something that is like the fuzzy.
Yep.
Of whatever, and then if you have when I think of quilt is the quilt is the thing all on the top that can use like the coverlet of the bed, so to speak, to make it look pretty.
Kind of. Mine's actual quilts made by my great grandmother, but yes.
Okay.
And now I go back to dogs. I shall return in a moment.
Okay.
So is this another thing like the you know how they used to do this whole trend? Millennials are killing X industry because they don't buy it anymore. Is this one of those things?
Yeah, they're not buying their amount of buggy whips they're supposed to buy or something like that. All right, so I just wanted to get that out of the way because I kind of thought that everybody had top sheets because washing blankets and comforters and stuff is a giant bore. But maybe millennials have a new way.
Your blankets?
You do, but not as often as I watch my sheets.
Why would you get rid of the sheet? I don't understand that.
I don't know.
Sheets make life comfortable.
I don't know. It's confusing.
I have top sheets.
Yeah.
But not everything. Not all of my sheet sets have a top sheet. Some are just duvet sets. So.
Yeah, I wash my sheets once a week. I do not wash my blankets once a week. I don't have to because I use sheets religiously. And washing blankets is a giant pain in the ass. And some kinds of blankets are actually very hard to wash. I mean, like my heavy wool blanket that I have, I couldn't wash that. I mean, that has to essentially be dry cleaned. Not essentially. It has to be dry cleaned every time I clean it. And I'm certainly not going to be dry cleaning it every week. That would be crazy. That's what top sheets are for.
We do it usually every couple of months.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Change.
Or just put it out on the line to get some fresh air and some sunshine on it. You know.
Hang it out to breathe because it's not healthy, especially if you've sweated in it.
Oh, yeah.
You need to dry it out. But again, bedtime, you should be, and I know not everybody does this because of health or other things going on, but it's always best to be as clean as possible when you go to bed.
Yep.
You know, showers or fresh clothing or whatever it is, because then
Wait,
you don't.
what? Who made that rule?
Ever since
It's not a rule.
like
It's
forever.
Just good advice.
You get out your bowl of water and your towel and you at least kind of sort of clean yourself up before you get in bed.
And then you don't have to really worry about stuff so much.
Exactly.
I was so lost as to what a top sheet was. I just had to Google it. And
the flat
the
sheet.
only time, I just call it a sheet. I top sheet, whatever. The only time I ever use one is when it's really, really cold, because if you can create pockets of air, it's a very good insulator. And but otherwise, no. I mean, I have the sheet on the roll. There's the under sheet and then the top sheet. Well, top sheet, but like the fitted sheet, two fitted sheets that go on the mattress, and I just wash my blanket because the thought of not washing your blanket like once every other month or so, it's kind of gross.
Oh, I do wash my blankets like that, but I don't wash comforters that often. Again, I do what I can to keep the comforter clean. That's like the big heavy thing that goes on top.
You guys are such bourgeois motherfuckers. What's wrong with? I have
Don't
a
hold back.
blanket.
Give us your opinion.
Comforter.
I love heated.
I like layers.
I like layers too, but I like to have a heated mattress liner. So basically, I put a cover over the mattress that's heated, and then I put a bunch of covers on top. And then because I'm kind of country in a way, I turn the damn heat off. It's like, I don't care if you can see my breath while I'm sleeping. I do not heat the whole freaking house. I just heat the part that my body is in a little envelope of comfort.
Do you like to sleep cold?
I like to sleep cold, and I like to leave my feet sticking out, even if I have all that other stuff.
I do that too. I like to sleep cold, and I like to have my feet be my little cold radiators.
Well, I know I told you about this when I was a little kid. My grandmother thought she was doing me this huge favor, and she bought me these pajamas with feet on them. And I got up in the middle of the night and got a pair of scissors out, and I cut the feet off because I couldn't stand sleeping like that.
That makes so much sense to me.
And I was like 4.
I did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we have other things to talk about.
If I could get away with not sleeping with any kind of covering, I do it. Maybe a small pillow or like some folds of blankets in between my knees so my knees don't like smash together while I'm sleeping. But I like just nothing on top of me.
I am so shocked that we got so much traction out of this throwaway article. I'm very happy.
You just never know.
You never know.
I learned some things.
You never know. So let's see. What do we want to talk about now? Okay, we could get angry again.
Okay.
Do I have to?
If it loads. 102-year-old Oakland man ordered to clean up graffiti on fence or pay thousands.
Yeah.
Why is it always Oakland?
I've read this story.
Because I like unloading on Oakland, so
No, but it's not just you picking it, but it's just
it does suck.
Oakland.
It does suck. Yeah.
And he's been picked on by these undescribable teens for quite a while.
Yeah. Earlier this month, he got a violation citation from the city of Oakland to remove it by Tuesday the 19th or face an $1,100 fine plus an additional $1,277 for each failed reinspection.
He's he's 102 years old?
102 years old.
Fuck it, don't pay. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? You're 102 years old. If they come at you, show them their middle finger, close their door.
A life sentence doesn't really mean so much.
Well, he's in a wheelchair. Before he used to paint it and clean it up, but now that he's in a wheelchair, he finds that he can't. Now, there was so much bad press from this that the city said, well, we'll send an inspector out and we'll take care of this because this is stupid. But the fact that they went at him to begin with is just crazy. Oakland, it's a huge shithole. And the fact that they're going after the law-abiding people, it's like, don't punish the people creating the graffiti, punish the law-abiding citizen who's 102 years old in a wheelchair for not painting and cleaning it up.
Oakland used to be this great place to live.
It used to be a beautiful place.
It's also the fact that he's being targeted because there are other places around there that have graffiti on them. They're not being charged. It's only this guy. And that's what made me kind of like the most egregious. So you're literally not just these fucking scumbags who are doing the fucking graffiti to begin with, but it's the actual city and these institutions of the city that are targeting this man.
I'm playing this just to answer Assassin's question. He's wondering what paint. There's graffiti on structures and walls on his property.
It's back fence.
And so the fence. And so the city is basically demanding that he paint his fence or face these fines.
Which he did paint for like 40 some odd years because, like, look, he's writing over the graffiti now. Which he did, but ever since he's been in the wheelchair, he hasn't been able to keep up. And look, that's his fucking neighbor.
Yeah, I think what needs to happen is when they find some of these kids and they bust them, they always sentence them to community service. Take a bunch of those and send them by to the 102-year-old guy's house and make him paint his fence over and over and over again. Let it just not be a problem. It's stupid. But anyway, Oakland sucks. I hate Oakland, and a pox on them. They lost their In-N-Out burger because they couldn't keep the crime down.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, losers. Let's see. We have so much stuff we could talk about. What's the next best thing to talk about? Well, we should talk about more lighter things. You may have heard about this story before. Animal lover rushes sick baby hedgehog to vet only to find out she's caring for a hat pom-pom.
Yes.
Wait,
what? Yeah.
Wow.
So this woman found like a hat pom-pom and she thought it was a She thought it
Oh,
was a
she's
hedgehog, so she actually tried to
British.
care for it and take it to the vet. It's not moving very much. You know, in England, they really love their hedgehogs. It's sad. I mean, she's elderly. It was the first admission of the day. The lady came in with a box. She said she had found this baby hedgehog on the pavement, and it was cold, and she was cold, and she picked it up. Wildlife hospital manager Shemp recalled about the bewildering incident. I was alarmed, as it's very early for baby hedgehogs, so I was a bit concerned. I took the box from her and took it to the triage, which is a separate room. I opened the box, and well, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I thought, it's definitely not a hedgehog, perhaps some other kind of fluffy creature. Yeah, it's part of a hat. Oops.
Is it that hat?
No, that's a hedgehog.
Yeah.
That's part of a hat. Not the same thing.
You cannot tell them apart. I can't tell any difference.
Yeah, it's the same picture.
I see absolutely the same image.
It's the same picture. So, Serenity, you back? She keeps disappearing.
No. The amazing disappearing Serenity act.
Okay, Skep.
Yes, sir.
There's a meme here. WhatsApp increases group chat size to 256 people. It's not clear why WhatsApp settled on such an oddly specific number.
Really? It's not clear why?
I love this response.
Really?
If you think 256 is oddly specific number, you probably shouldn't be writing tech articles.
Yep.
You're going to have to turn that computer over to me. I'm afraid you can't have that.
Okay, Skep, you should... Let's see. This 44-year-old horror game was so indie that its legendary dev sold it in a plastic bag. And after one day on eBay, rare copy is already over $4,000. This is like basically the company that later went on to become, was it Sierra Online? When they was just a husband and wife making these games. This is the first game they ever made. And it was called Mystery House, High-Res Adventure #1. And she would just pack them with a little bit of documentation on a floppy in a clear plastic bag and send them out to people. And this one was actually found and went up on eBay, and it's currently at $4,000.
Mystery House.
Yeah. The game called Mystery House. It's an indie game, as you would believe, in 1980.
Why don't I know about Mystery House?
Let's see. Roberta handled the writing and design. Ken did the programming, collaborating to create a murder mystery where the bodies piled up faster than a slasher flick. It was one of the first graphical adventure games and one of the first horror games, in both cases predating the very terms we use to describe these genres. Yep. They sold 10,000 copies through magazine ads.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, this was Sierra Online.
Well, it was before they were Sierra Online.
Before, yeah, but it's the Williams is the ones who...
So before they made King's Quest and all this other stuff,
right?
She got inspired by playing Colossal Caverns.
Huh.
Yeah. $4,000 on eBay for this. You've got to be a pretty serious collector to shell out that kind of money.
If you think about it, think the aesthetic of like the first iteration of Oregon Trail is all like line drawing, so it's very simple, but it was an interesting game. I remember that game when I was a kid. Well, we're talking much later, like probably 1986, 87. Damn, dude.
Damn.
Why can't my shitty old games be worth something?
Mass-produced Ziploc bags containing a floppy disk and a sheet of instructions. Those were the days. They were sold for $24.95.
And worth every penny.
Worth every penny, absolutely. These were great days. These were the days of the Apple II Snake game and all that. Just the beginning of things where I would sit down with my little CPM computer, type in 2048, very carefully selected characters, had to get everyone right. That was the database that the thing worked off of, and then I could play my little adventure game back in CPM. He had to type in stuff with a debugger to get the game to run.
Yeah. Well, I have a
because these games you actually had to, like, it just offered you a prompt. There was no
Right.
there was no.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Well, this one had
push
some.
W
This one
to
had
go
some
up,
graphics. This
no,
was the
it did
first.
have graphics, but I'm saying to interact with the game, it says, "What do you want to do?" And you
Yeah.
have to type. You have
Go
to know.
into the
you have
room.
to type in. You have to. Well, yeah, exactly. You have to type out. Go open door with hand.
Drop key.
You open the door
And
now walk
and
into
half the time
room
it's
through
going
the
to say,
doorway.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
You have
because
to know the things that it knows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you
no
had to
AI
figure it
there.
out. Otherwise, it was it was the interesting days of gaming for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I want to show you a piece of property that has just entered the market in California. Now, normally, I don't give a crap about stuff like this. Normally. So this is the house that was built, for like the first house that Eichler, Joseph Eichler of the Eichler House, which are very famous mid-century modern houses in California and other places, had built. And it's essentially like the love child of Eichler and Frank Lloyd Wright. This is a great, great piece of property. I would so buy this if I had money.
I can see the inspiration.
I mean, it's
Ooh, I like
very
that a
much
lot.
like the Hannah House, which is Frank Lloyd Wright Usonian with the hexagonal grid on the bottom. But
Yeah,
you also
yeah.
have the
big
Eichler
beam.
sort of integration of the indoor living space and the outdoor living space, where they kind of flow into each other really
I
nicely.
like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so it's a great house. I would totally totally buy this. It's in Atherton.
Wow.
It's a humble neighborhood, but if I suddenly won the lottery and had like $1 billion, I would buy this in a heartbeat. I would. There's just nothing that would stop me from buying something like this.
I like it. I would still much rather an original, right?
Original what?
Frank Lloyd Wright. An original Frank Lloyd Wright.
This might
Like
actually
Falling
be a
Water
little.
or the
This might be a
Pennsylvania
little
House.
more livable in a way. The problem with Wright houses is they're really hard to maintain. This gives you a lot of the advantages of both Eichler and Wright in the same package. So I think this is actually a pretty unique property. I would buy this up in a second. Not to mention it's just on a beautiful lot in Atherton. Stuff like this just doesn't
I'm
go
not
on the
disagreeing
market.
with you. I think it's gorgeous.
Well, historically speaking, if you care about architecture, this is a pretty interesting property. Like I said, it's sort of straddles the design aesthetic between the two great designers.
What's it like over there for a beautiful old house like this? Whoever purchases it, what's the likelihood they're going to keep it and not tear it down?
These family, oh God, this isn't going to be torn down. This house will be in that family's possession for the next 40 years.
Because here there is a high chance that whoever buys it is just going to tear it down.
That's true of a lot of things, but this would not get torn down. And I would be surprised if it doesn't have some sort of status that would prevent
I was
that.
going to say, I'd be shocked if this wasn't a protected property.
Yeah, it's just a humble
You guys
estate
have
in the hill
heritage
in Atherton.
status?
Aerial.
Oh yeah, we have heritage status for a lot of stuff, both state
Yeah.
level and federal level.
Okay.
Yeah, but to my eye, which knows
in
a little bit
Texas
about
city level.
it knows a little bit about this, the built-in cabinets and the built-in furniture is very much a Frank Lloyd Wright thing, but the
It's so
inside-outside thing is very much an Eichler thing. This is a beautiful house, and I would love to own this.
Yes, but Frank Lloyd Wright also he didn't combine the two, but he opened the spaces. So you'll find a lot of like these like in the I guess it's the main living area, the main living room area, how it's that big wide open wall there, yeah, with the wide open window walls. That's very right.
Yep.
Another thing that's very right that he kind of exclusively did, not very many people copied this, again, because it's a hard thing to maintain, was that the corners of the house were exposed to the outside, through windows or whatever. But it was really, I always had an interesting fascination with that particular design element. But I like that idea as a whole of you can still close off the outside. Obviously, you want to protect yourself and be protected from the elements in the outdoors, but you can open it up to the outside and bridge the two It just, and of course it's California, so you can
The
do that
climate is
almost year-round.
fantastic. So the
just
idea
love
of
the
like
look of this.
year-round living indoors and outdoors at the same time is something you can actually do more often than not.
Yeah, that aerial shot is.
And
just,
and don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Frank Lloyd Wright stuff. I all of my my systems are basically named after Frank Lloyd Wright buildings now. I once got into a conversation with some customer, and somehow Frank Lloyd Wright came up. I guess he was sort of a fan, and we ended up disagreeing about something. And I just said, before you go any further into this, the name of my laptop is Taliesin. And he just said, oh, and then just said, never mind, and decided he didn't feel like arguing with me about it. And I don't know everything about it, but just a little more than a random schmo. If we had Jack on here, we could probably tease him. He probably hates it. It's hard to tell what Jack likes and doesn't like.
Was by Foster City, wasn't it?
Closer to Menlo Park.
Oh, it's down by Stanford?
Yeah, ish.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's unless it's
sold.
I
found it.
There was a smaller Frank Lloyd Wright house that was for sale in Los Angeles, if I remember right, because I trolled a Realtor.com website, and I think I remember seeing one.
if you were to put the layman beside Atherton and this house, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference. They'd say it's the same designer. You got a lot of those same elements: the angles, the wide wall, the long walls of windows, the internal sort of feel of it. Obviously, somebody who's a little bit more knowledgeable about this stuff, they could pick out the minutia like Harry just did. But you put the two of them together for the layman, I mean, you definitely see the.
Well, this is the missing link, functional. This is because before Eichler started building a bunch of houses and selling to people, like Terry Hatcher's family, like we mentioned her previously. Before Terry Hatcher got to grow up in an Eichler house, a lot of these ideas were tried out in this house that Eichler built for himself with the work of two of his architects. And they were heavily influenced by Frank Lloyd Wright, obviously. But this is the missing link between those two great designers, this house that Eichler owned himself.
Question?
Yeah.
Cool.
So between Frank Lloyd Wright and Eichler, would these tangentially be considered in a weird way almost brutalistic, or is it not considered?
No, because
is Germany.
No, this is similar to a Frank Lloyd Wright Usonian, and that philosophy is really more about harmoniously blending in with the land. And it's also a utilitarian sort of thing, not brutalistic. Some of like the house that Frank, God, I can't remember the concrete house that's, well, it's not, it's like a big house that's in L.A.
Oh, yeah.
You might be able to make the argument that that's brutalistic, but brutalism wouldn't usually have the kind of ornamentation on it that house has.
Okay.
It would just be, here's your cube, enjoy living in the bad part of Eastern Europe.
When it comes to the design of the houses, I know they're considered part of the mid-century stuff.
Yeah. Iconic mid-century.
Yeah, iconic mid-century for good reason.
Yeah.
Do they have? Is it like mid-century utilitarian? Is that what it's like? The style is called, or is it?
No.
Like, what is the name of the style? Because to me, I would prefer more buildings if they were built like this, or in the pure classical sense, than the faceless generic bullshit.
God, yes. No, they definitely had room for it.
Well, it's just I'm curious what the name is. This way I can tell people. It's like I don't want to keep saying.
Well, I know that in Wright's case it's the Usonian. I can't remember what this would be called. Why can I not come up with the name of it? Probably because I'm incompetent. But
you're not incompetent.
It is based on like a Frank Lloyd Wright Usonian type thing, which, well, like I said, the Hannah House, which is on the Stanford, where the teachers live for Stanford University, that area. Yeah. Couple times a year they'll open that up for tours, and I remember going to that and thinking, wow, this is amazing, because the Hannah House was a prototype for later stuff, because he really wasn't just trying to make houses for rich people. He was making houses for people who were like school teachers,
Oh yeah.
music teachers, people who were sort of upper middle class and trying to raise the art of architecture at the same time overall.
Yeah.
And then he was also building like the Guggenheim and the Marin Civic Center and all that other sort of good stuff.
The only thing I can see anybody calling it is a mid-century contemporary style. That's the only thing I can see anybody calling it.
I mean, they used to call him prairie style, didn't they?
Yeah, I was
yeah,
about to
that's
say
the prairie
they
style's another
bring
one, yeah.
up prairie as sort of describer, but the problem is Frank Lloyd Wright was so unique
Yeah.
that there is no style. It's just considered Frank Lloyd Wright.
Well, he had multiple. He had
takes
multiple
elements
incarnations
from
of his
different
own
things.
stuff.
Yeah, he
you know.
was a new brutalist. They called him the new brutalism, the retake of Le Corbusier. At least that's stuff that I studied on him.
Like I understand that it's considered more organic in going with lines and being more hospitable, and I get that, but it does have the smell of brutalism to it. That's the reason why I wasn't sure if it was tangentially related.
They used to call him a new brutalist.
Okay.
The remaking of Le
I think that's
Corbusier.
unfair, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
to me, it looks
think
better
it's a
than the
misnomer
brutalistic
too,
stuff.
because he was a nature harmony guy, I think.
Yeah, there's no brutalism, but
yeah. One of his most famous quotes is, "I don't believe in, or I believe in God. I just call it something else, nature."
Well, that was sorry. That's what is that called? I can't remember. Not pantheism. What is it? I'm tired and my brain's not working.
Okay. What are you trying to characterize?
I bring it up because it's how he, sees it. Like, you still want to be yes, it's a home or whatever, but you still want that building to be a part of the world, of nature, of
Well, that's the exterior.
I wouldn't call it brutalist though, because it's.
Well, Harry, what are you trying to characterize?
Well, okay. Well, no. What Functional was mentioning was sort of his pseudo-religious views, and that part of his philosophy. I can't remember the name of it, but a lot of the founders were like that. Instead of basically talking about God or a religious figure, they just sort of view nature. Deists. Thank you. Yeah, brain not working, very tired. That was the thing. Now, we're talking a lot about the outside of a house like this right now. To my mind, when you say what style is this, it's an Eichler. Eichler is a style named after the guy Eichler. So it is an Eichler. It's also kind of based on a prairie. It's also based on Usonian. It's a lot of things. It is a missing link. It's a fish that can go out of the water for a little while, breathe a bit, and then go back in. That's what makes it interesting, is because it isn't really just one thing or the other. It's this weird missing link between them.
Well, it's the thing is, like, everybody wants and has names for everything. I just wasn't sure if there was a name for the style, since Eichler and Wright have similarities enough that their styles could be called a singular style.
Yeah, well,
that's what I wasn't sure about. But like I said, if brutalism looked like that, I would like brutalism, but I don't like brutalism. And I understand it's not really brutalism, but I kind of get where they've got the flavor.
Someone would have to convince me that it's brutalism.
There are elements that they took from brutalism in some of the buildings. Definitely, what was the Institute in Chicago? Very much so. You look at those terraces, the roofing. It's very much. You look at that, you go, well, that's just that is brutalism right there. But everything in between those partitions of the floors and ceilings is completely not in that same style. So it's like Harry said, it's you would call that the Frank Lloyd Wright style or whatever. So it's actually kind of interesting that you bring up the fact that it's brutalism, because obviously it's inspired in some places.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Falling Water, I would say, leans slightly more nature inhabiting brutalism, just because of the way Falling Water House is. But like I get, like, and that's the thing, is like there's more elements of brutalism to it than other things, but I still appreciate the organicness of it. Let me put it
So the one thing that Frank Lloyd Wright houses almost all have in common is that the roofs leak. he was way more interested in form than function.
Fair.
So
fair.
The Johnson Wax building, the roof is made up of quartz tubes, and that son of a bitch leaks all the time.
Oh, I'm sure.
But we have to get to the last thing, which just to sort of fall with tradition. What would the last thing be? What would it
Penis
be?
news?
What kind of
Penis
article would it
news.
be? Junk science. Why barium men are using Botox to enlarge their penises.
Of course they are.
Christ, they're all
Oh,
faggots.
no.
Of course they are.
Okay.
Still can't find the clit, but
Yeah.
anyway.
So basically, this is very much a San Francisco thing, but
I'm
This-
thinking
Amen.
of San
this
Francisco.
I
actually
am shocked.
remember
Amen.
when we talked about the douchebag rich guy who wanted to live forever, who was doing the blood
Yeah.
transfusions and all that
Is he
sort of
doing
stuff.
this too? Is he doing this
Well,
too?
this was influenced like this. So, in general, length rather than girth, blah, blah, blah. But everything changed with the insertion of Brian Johnson into the quantified self scene.
Insertion.
The suddenly everywhere multimillionaire longevity guru has developed a cult following through his attempts to cheat death
sure.
via young blood transfusions and his blueprint
Oh,
diet.
God.
Among East Bay biohackers, he's a legit, said Jeff Tang, 26, the founder of Eat Blueprint. Emil, I don't care about that. On January 31st, Johnson posted his penis protocol on X. 100 units of Botox had to be injected into his penis,
Ew,
resulting in a
much?
1 centimeter increase in flaccid length and increased hardness and sexual satisfaction. So,
Okay.
multimillionaire
time-
douchebag
no.
has been putting.
Time out. when we look at the actual data of the orgasm disparity,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm sorry, men are not the ones having the issues going to the end.
Yeah.
Let's discuss. We're not even going to discuss that part. So the whole fact of like, oh, the sexual, honey, that wasn't a problem for you all to begin with.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Well, maybe if somebody had drawn him a map, never mind.
Maybe.
Oh, so wait.
Go with it. Go. Do it.
Go back up. This is Botox we're talking about.
Yeah, botulinum toxin
Yep.
It's a
injected
paralytic.
into the penis.
But
Well,
it's a
that's probably what it is.
paralytic.
That's probably
Yeah.
what it is, though. It's probably causing the muscles to relax and thus recede, thus making it seem like
Yeah,
it's
it's
much longer.
it's 1/10,000. Yeah, well, they're also talking
I
about
just
people
feel
using
like
fillers and other
these-
things.
Well,
Jesus
it's
Christ.
also the fact of like women have been saying for a long time it's not length, it's girth. Why do you people not listen?
I
And it's
think
just
because
this-
some of these guys see the women that some of these e-girls, the men that some of these e-girls swipe on, and they're pretty obviously going after a certain
Wealth?
demographic.
Yeah, this will be one of the rare times where I don't blame the women.
Yeah, no, this is not.
Because
This
there
is
are no
still
women.
this is terrible.
They're-
This is terribly vain though,
This is gay men. This is gay men mostly. This is not straight.
and men with
This
way
is
too much
gay-
money. Well, it's
Well, yeah.
it's a lot of money to have
Oh, yeah.
100 shots
100
of Botox
units?
put into your
For how long?
your
Like how long
tackle.
between treatments does he say? Good Lord.
Let's get to the
I think he
puns.
was
Johnson's
like every
viral
2
post inspired Stanford University trained anesthesiologist to investigate the science behind so-called Botox injections. He said that
I can
Botox
get
was
behind.
being used
That I can get
experimentally for erectile dysfunction, but hadn't appreciated its shaft lengthening qualities. There are things that were in a textbook in medical school, he said.
I'm talking about shaft.
Yeah.
I can
Baby.
dig it.
He's one bad. No, never mind.
Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God!
No
Don't do
one
this.
understands him but his
So,
woman.
The biohacker multimillionaire douchebag now has somehow influenced some men who I guess are just very impressionable that they should have 100 shots of botulinum toxin in their penis.
100 units. Okay, so everyone understands how much 100 units is. The women who look like plastic.
It's
are
like 1
usually-
month at the View.
Well, the thing is that like the women you see that look really plastic, they're getting maybe a unit of Botox. That's how much like that freezes their entire face, makes their forehead look like glass. It's so smooth. They're at most getting at like a unit. Most are getting a half a unit if they're from a non like greedy.
You gotta
technician.
think though. It's a very thin
Oh, it's
piece of. No. I'm talking about the forehead, the face, right?
Yeah.
And it's very close to the bone,
Mhm.
and the everything is very thin up there. When we're talking down below in the male giggly bits, it's spongy. So
Mhm.
I'm trying to
The only thing I can figure is they're obviously going for the base, not the rest of it. But it's just like
no, because I don't know. This is pure speculation. I think it's the entire thing, because not only is it loosening the tendons that hold it in place, but it's also the spongy material inside that it sort of relaxes it, because it's still very spongy. Like but when it becomes engorged, it becomes like it fills it, right? So with what I'm assuming the injections do is it loosens it a bit.
Oh,
but I don't know.
This all goes all the way back to 2017.
I think it's stupid.
And it takes 10 minutes.
This sounds like a terrible idea.
Crackers.
Minions of the Zoo does not recommend shooting poison in your penis.
Out of curiosity, what happens if you go to somebody who's inexperienced and go a little bit too deep, and they, I don't know, nick a vein, fuck up your urethra, something like that?
Dead.
Like, don't do this.
Well, I mean, how many women have passed away from BBLs and botched boob jobs? I mean, that's any risk you take with any kind of procedure. Never mind things like this that are purely for stupid, vain cosmetic reasons. Now, if there's somebody, I know Harry mentioned that they initially went down this rabbit hole to find ways to cure ED. And sure, if there's something wrong and you need something that carries a risk, like a procedure like this, then you have to weigh that. But for something that's pure just vanity, it's so stupid.
Yeah, if you're fixing a problem and it's a quality of life issue, that's one thing. If it's basically just to give you a little more swagger, then just grow up.
Oh, apparently they're also testing it to be used for premature coming to Jesus.
Huh. Interesting.
Again, the view would be a handy thing to think about.
Religious conversion.
Yeah.
If you do it well enough, it's a religious experience.
I really don't want to research this Serenity, but now I'm actually
I'm too late. I'm too late. I've already gone down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
Too late.
I feel like I'm a corrupting influence on people now.
Honey,
I try to create a wholesome environment for the panel and the chat.
Medical and scientific. It's very
I've been watching anime since the late 90s. My search history is already dog crap. Like, it's
should have used a VPN. Just kidding.
That was well before I knew what that was.
Yeah.
I'm on Tumblr. It's already too late.
It's all pure cancer, isn't it?
You're already far too gone.
Yeah, it's too gone. Like, screw it.
Thankfully, the void is actually scared of you, so...
It's being on the Tumblr.
The abyss, not the void.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We've gone 2 hours.
2 hours of your life has been spent with us.
Yeah, we talked about fish. We talked about Carl Pilkington. We had cute animals. There's a bunch of science stuff we didn't get to. So since we did entertainment last week and we did whatever the hell this was this week, maybe we'll have to go science heavy next week.
That sounds good.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
More science. Yeah.
Oh, because there's just so much stuff.
Good show, Harry. Thank you for putting this together.
Don't forget to tip your server.
Found out why
it works.
Okay.
So apparently
the Bocox.
This is apparently from Men's Health.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Well, it's actually connected to an actual study. But anyway,
okay.
But it's what it does is basically, what was the exact words? Okay, Botox can thwart the release of neurotransmitter norepinephrine, which prevents blood flow, but it doesn't mess with the release of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is vital to the erection since it relaxes and allows blood to. So that's what it is. It's stopping one and allowing the other to flow freely.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So that's what it is. So sorry, just for anybody else who's curious. Yes, I went down that rabbit hole. No, I do not care.
Yeah, well, having good nitric oxide, not nitrous, nitric oxide flow is good for just cardiac health in general. It isn't just for the old gentleman's sausage. It's also just good for your heart. So,
then put it near there.
Yeah, talk to your, do things that actually benefit that mechanism are worth talking to your doctor about.
Yes.
If you have any concerns about this sort of stuff. So much stuff we could talk about. We got to get Skep off to Dreamland here. So at some point we got to just put a pin in it and say we're done. So This has been your Minions of the Zoo for Saturday. Thank you, panel. Thank you, chat. The zoo is closed. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.